A wee disclaimer here, we're not film experts. We're doing this for fun and to try and shine a light on films which are seen as rotten on movie review aggregator website Rotten Tomatoes, and to poke fun at them as well. It's a chance to highlight that the critical consensus isn't always everything.
We'd also like to remind everyone that we're about to go over all the film's details, including the plot, so there will be spoilers. Also, we just want to mention it's okay to disagree with our opinion. If you do, you can tell us and become part of the discussion. With that in mind, thanks for joining us and enjoy!
Hello and welcome to Rank Rotten, a Rotten Movies podcast with me, Mikey.
And me, Kat.
We're the podcast that looks at the best of the worst, but also on the other flip side of that, the worst of the worst.
We do. We take on the jobs that nobody else wants.
And just the mediocre.
Yeah.
Probably. It's been a funny run so far.
Yeah, we have. And it's been a lot of films that we've thought are fresh.
I know. Could tonight change that? Who knows?
I guess we'll find out.
Kat, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, thank you. Yes, I'm been in a great mood the last couple of days.
Good.
Just dancing through life.
Excellent.
My personal soundtrack at all times. Yeah, how are you doing?
Oh, right. Came out, right? Really good recently. And then I got a new laptop, which you're normally buzzing with, right? Apart from the fact, I can't figure out how to record with it.
Yeah.
Our microphones are set up, which has been working for ages now, for months, just all of a sudden isn't working.
It is odd.
So I have reached out to Rode Support.
Yes, you have.
So hopefully they will help.
I'm sure they will. They're the experts.
So at the moment we're on Old Faithful. I'm just going to stroke the Old Faithful. Oh
Yeah.
God, that sounds really, really, really dodgy. I meant the laptop. I'm referring to the laptop.
Yes. Yes, he is. And make sure when you're talking, you don't touch the touchpad and accidentally stop the recording.
Oh yeah, okay, I'll stop that now. Anyway, yeah, Old Faithful has come through for us. You can when you feel bad for buying a new one. Do you ever get that?
I know, you kind of feel like you're betraying the old one.
Do you know what it is?
But
It's Toy Story.
Yeah.
It's Toy Story, but you're an adult, and so it takes a slightly different form.
Yeah.
But you replace an old piece of tech, and you're like, oh. But
Yeah.
listen, the old laptop still works, and he's is helping us today, so.
Exactly. Your old laptop is Woody and the new one is Buzz Lightyear.
That's it. Don't even want it. No,
It's too late.
it is banging, but just no for this purpose, unfortunately.
One day it won't be
Aye.
used for this purpose.
I
One
know.
day.
Come on, Road, come through for us.
I'm sure they will. More on the story as it develops.
Anyway, today we're here to talk about a request from Kirsten,
Yes, it is.
who requested that we talk about Forever My Girl.
Yes, she has. And as we mentioned at the end of last week's podcast, it has caused a slight divide in our friendship group where Lauren did not enjoy this film and didn't even make it through the whole thing.
Oh, wow.
And Kirsten did enjoy this film. But when I spoke to her at the weekend, she did say to caveat with that she was very hungover and emotionally vulnerable at the time.
So she added this caveat when she knew we were about to watch it.
She did.
That tells you a lot, eh?
It does. It really does. But yes, this is just for you, Kirsten.
That's right, we watched Forever My Girl last night.
We did.
But yeah, I mean, we can't ignore when people are asking us to, we've got people who listen to the show who want us to do something, can't be ignored.
It cannot. So we happily volunteered to settle this debate.
I was well in for it.
Yeah.
Like I said to you last week, it was something I wouldn't normally watch, and now I have.
Exactly.
So we'll get to our thoughts on it later. But for now, why don't we look into some details of Forever My Girl?
Let's do it.
Sound. So Forever My Girl came out on the 19th of January 2018. It's about an hour and 48 minutes. We have a budget of $3.5 million. Box office, it made 16.4. So we're not talking big numbers here, but we are talking a profit.
Yeah, it's not a blockbuster, but it made us decent profit. Quadruple its budget.
If you're, that's a really good profit.
Mhm.
Way over what you paid to make it.
So the director is Bethany Ashton Wolfe, who is also the writer of this film, which is interesting. The production studio is LD Entertainment. This is based on a book which has got the same name and was written by Heidi McLaughlin.
I was curious. This Heidi McLaughlin lady's written quite a few books of this
Has she?
ilk.
Okay.
Yeah. Forever My Girl was one of her very popular books.
Mhm.
Hence, movie.
Yeah.
But she didn't write the screenplay. It was written by this Bethany Ashton Wolfe woman who I went to look into it and couldn't really find much else that they had done. So,
Interesting.
yeah, so this, I don't know if it's early doors for Bethany Ashton Wolfe, or perhaps I just didn't see, or something didn't catch my eye, but I don't think she's done that much.
Well, we'll keep our eyes peeled for her in the future.
To be fair, she's put out, She's put out a movie, so
Yep.
got one under her belt at least.
Exactly. The tagline for this movie is "Find your way back home."
Find your way back home.
Yeah. Delightful sentiment, indeed.
So not super creative on the tagline front. Let's see if the rest of the movie reflects that, shall we?
Yes, would you like to give us the synopsis?
Of course. Liam Page is a country singer superstar who left his bride Josie at the altar to pursue fame and fortune. Page never got over Josie, his one true love, or forgot his southern roots in the small community where he was born and raised. Now he must unexpectedly face the consequences of his actions when he returns to his hometown for the funeral of his best friend from high school.
I think that's a pretty good summary.
Aye, there's no much more to it than that.
Nope. Does what it says in the tin.
The tomatometer gave this movie a very, very lowly 25%.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I say very, very. That's not even that low, really. Come
It's
on,
not.
we've seen worse.
We've seen much lower. The popcorn meter is much more favourable, though, at a 78% score.
Wow.
So
aye.
not all is lost.
Indeed. Indeed. Like the elf in the snow. Indeed. Well, listen. I don't see any reason to stall, y'all. So let's get on with this thing. Let's go into the plot of Forever My Girl. Our movie opens outside a small community church in St. Augustine, Louisiana. A woman, she's like trying to get everybody to go into the church because the wedding's about to start.
Yes, it is.
A couple of people make comments there about this point, about hearing Liam's song on the radio.
Oh, exciting for them all.
I know. Oh, have you heard Liam's song on the radio? Or kind of like that. And the woman agrees that it's wonderful, but right now they're going to see him marry her daughter. So it's like, he'll be here any minute.
Exciting.
Fine.
Very exciting day.
Exactly. I tell you what, in this first wee bit, it's mentioned far too many times that Liam's song is on the radio. If you didn't know, it's hammering it you across the head with the fact that Liam's song's on the radio.
Yeah, they really do mention it a lot.
Just to make sure you know.
Yeah, just in case you missed it.
I didn't want any subtleties here.
No, they do not.
No.
There's also a song in the opening scenes of this film.
Aye.
And I really enjoyed it.
So did I at first. I was like, oh, this is what we're in for. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was well into it.
Yeah, good old soundtrack. And also, I just love a Southern American accent.
It's class.
Yeah, they're really cool.
But the bride, Josie, who is played by Jessica Roth. So we only knew her from Happy Death Day.
We did.
1 and 2. Happy Death Day and Happy Death Day 2U, I believe they're called.
They are, and I love those movies.
Yeah, good fun. Second one's a bit wild, but still fun.
Yeah, both the riot.
We went to see it in the cinema the second one, and we were like, this is mental, but we weren't no into it. It was fun.
Yeah, it wasn't what I was expecting, but I didn't dislike it.
Well, this is interesting. She did this movie in between those two films.
Which I am surprised about.
Totally. Well, anyway, at the start here, I was like, she looks so sweet and innocent compared to the girl that we see in Happy Death Day.
Very different characters.
But I think that's the whole point. She's supposed to look very sweet, innocent and vulnerable.
Absolutely.
As I've mentioned already, there is no subtleties here.
There are none.
So there's 4 older Southern belles sitting in the room, and they're sort of watching with excited glee. Josie's brother walks in and he asks her if she's ready for him to walk her down the aisle.
Oh, that's nice.
Totally.
Why are these 4 older ladies sitting just watching?
Just the South.
Ah, okay.
Aye. All
Right.
weddings have to have. So when you book a wedding, there's an extra sort of supplement you have to pay for. It's 4 Southern belles that sit and just commentate on everything.
That makes sense. Okay, right, that's fine. And also, I'm unsurprised by the surcharge. Everything with a wedding that gets a surcharge.
Totally. We should have had 4 Southern belles at our wedding. It would have been a laugh.
I probably might. It might have stopped the pandemic. Who knows?
No, sorry about that, guys.
Yep, our fault. I really like Josie's wedding dress.
Oh, this is going to sound like a total man thing to say. Didn't notice.
It looked like mine.
Did it?
Yeah, it was not dissimilar.
I was too busy trying to take in everything else at this point.
Yeah,
Didn't really notice it.
Fair enough. But mine had pockets. I don't think hers did.
Nah, it was a winner. Like, I had a sporran, which isn't big enough, by the way. Sporrans are not big enough.
What do you need to put in your sporran that is not
your
big
phone,
enough for?
Your wallet,
Yeah.
your money, your cards, your keys. It's already no big enough. Just in case you're not familiar with a kilt, but a sporran is a wee thing that goes around your waist, and it's like a pocket that sits on the front. It's this kind of thing that draws the eye in when you see somebody wearing a kilt. Kind of brings it all together, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah, and it's just like a little satchel that goes in the front of your...
Aye, it's a satchel, basically. It's normally got some sort of animal fur on it, or faux animal fur.
Yeah, usually. And some beauty tassels.
It's about this time, I think her mum uses a sort of term, and I was like, what's that supposed to mean? It was something about Southern time. 12 minutes, Miss Quinn.
All the southern time in the world, my dear.
So what's Southern time?
I think things are stereotyped as moving a bit slower in the south. That the pace of life is a bit slower.
Aye, well, Kim, I just googled it while you were saying that, and that's exactly what it is. A more relaxed and informal approach to timekeeping than is generally found elsewhere, is allegedly it. A few minutes later, two groomsmen come in, and after telling Josie she looks great, one of them asks to speak to the maid of honour in the hall. He's like, can you pop out here with me, please? As they sort of whisper outside the room, Josie's sure something's not quite right. Well, they're touching up her lipstick, aren't they?
They are.
At this point. But everyone assures her everything's all right. And then our pal comes back in and says, by the way, Liam's not coming. Not quite like that, but she does tell her
It wasn't
Liam's
as brutal as that, but yeah, tough news to deliver.
Aye, right. And I was like, at this point, wedding singer. That's all I could think of.
Yeah.
But like, much less fun.
Yeah, definitely.
And also much more horrible.
Yeah, it was really sad.
Yeah, it's not funny and even a little bit. See, in the wedding singer, Robbie loses his marbles and just starts smashing the place up. Doesn't he? I'm pretty sure he does, eh?
I think so.
Aye, he does.
That's what I would do.
But that's not what happens here.
I'd go and eat the whole 3-tiered cake.
I don't know, I'd probably get like one bit in and be like, oh, it's too much.
Nah, I'm eating that whole thing until I'm
I'd
sick
eat
as
all
a dog.
the main meals.
Yeah, 120 main meals. Yes, please.
Oh, but you got a pudding too, so like maybe I'd prefer the pudding to the cake.
Maybe you could go like main pudding.
Maybe I'm going through a bit of cake phase the new.
Yeah, we've had a lot of cake.
You baked that cake at the weekend and I ate quite a lot of that cake. All calorie counted.
Mm-hmm. Accounted for?
Yeah, but it did take up most of my allowance each day, but it was good. Very good cake baking there.
Could have been better.
Listen, just because it didn't come out the bundt tin clean doesn't mean it's not a good bake.
Yeah, I think it was just missing the outside.
Do you have tips for getting a cake out of bundt tin? Let us know.
Yeah, please let me know. I'm going to be trying again soon.
Yeah.
I want to crack it.
I hope you have to try again 6 times. So it cuts to 8 years later and we see an aerial view of the OVO Hydro in Glasgow.
It does look like it.
I know. To be honest, right, I watch a lot of wrestling, especially WWE do this. They do establishing drone shots of the area. They did it in Glasgow when they were here just back in March, was it? Mm-hmm. They did it here and they had drone shots of like the armadillo and all that. It was cool. But like this stadium just looks like a giant hydro.
It does. I wonder if the hydro was based on that one because I suspect that one's been there longer.
Maybe. I mean, I think it's maybe even more that there's just sort of a modern standard for big arena venues that didn't have great sound. Sorry.
Pinning your colours to the mast right there and then.
I'm saying they didn't have great sound if you want to go and see a heavy band. There's nature. It's all muddy and horrible.
Yeah.
Wet See Tenacious D at the Hydro sounded great.
Yeah, I think it also is really variable in the Hydro depending on where you're sitting.
I think that's also definitely a thing.
Mm-hmm.
We went to the cinema to see Thunderbolts the other day with Rob, our friend Rob. Really good film, by the way. We were sitting at the back. We never do that. And the sound was different.
It was
compared to
different.
when we normally sit in the centre.
Yeah.
The Sheldon spot, like in Big Bang Theory. But it sounded weirder at the back. It was fine. It was great. And I actually quite liked sitting at the back. But the sound wasn't the same.
Yeah.
So I imagine in a venue there's even more variables because it's massive.
That's a very good point. Yeah.
But anyway, no, it's a stadium in New Orleans, unnamed stadium. And it reads, you see a sign or whatever, it's got the Liam Page Tour.
Yeah, it's going round outside. It's like an LED screen scenario.
Cool. And Liam, who is played by Alex Rowe, is on the stage finishing up a concert packed with loads of screaming fans. Oh my God, it's Liam Page.
Wow, it's Liam Page. At this point, I thought he was singing a song saying, don't want to down my whiskey, but it was, don't water down my whiskey.
Yeah, he's country. He wants to down his whiskey and he doesn't know what water doing, so.
That's it.
Kind of
I did think it was a bit of confusing that he didn't want to down it.
I was also like, oh, there's this generic country here, unfortunately. Because I was like, oh, we might get some decent country music, but country does tend to fall into a stereotype. And often the songs can be about that kind of thing, right? Quite honestly, because I've followed country since I was a kid, right? Not so much now. I didn't listen to modern country that much. Folk are often telling me artists to listen to, and I'll get around to it at some point. But often when I'm like, I'm going to listen to country, I'm straight back onto the sort of classic outlaws, kind of what I mean? Waylon Jennings and that, and Johnny Cash and whatever, you know what I mean? Aye, here it was the song, and I've heard modern country no like this, so you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But this didn't feel like there was much to it going on. What a damn a whiskey! Oh, and I was like, right, okay.
Yeah, it was a bit middle of the road.
After the last song, Liam walks off the stage and he makes a comment to his manager, who's called Sam. But that's not what we called him, but we'll get there in a sec. That he wants a girl from the front row that he saw. And Sam's like, oh, we're already on it, mate. And then Sam wants Liam to come with him to meet these record execs or reps or whatever for the record label. And Liam's like, I'm not gone, basically. Give me send up the girl and a whiskey and a steak or something. No, wait, vodka.
Vodka, yeah, which felt like a bit of a misstep.
Literally just singing about whiskey. Liam, the head of the label's going to be there. And everyone's really eager to hear about these new tunes you've been working on, you know? Just have a bottle of vodka sent up to my room and a steak. There's a couple of things to unpack here. Firstly, they sound like that.
They do sound like that.
I would quite honestly say, it feels like a cartoon character's day in country.
Yeah.
To a degree. And Sam, when he goes, Toons, Kat and I then decided to refer to him as Toons for the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
To the point where we're going to the end and I didn't know his name. And Kat was like, his name's Sam. I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
But we called him Toons.
It was a very unusual pronunciation.
Toons.
Yeah, and the guy seemed to portray it like he had really difficult time regulating his emotions.
I think that's what he's trying to do, because it's clear that Liam is a source of stress.
Yeah, he's very
for him
difficult.
and everyone around him.
Yes.
Liam's a bit of a dick.
He is, yeah.
Right? And as you can tell by his sort of bratty ways, like, oh, just tell me I'm a vodka steak and then girl. And it's like, he's very moody. And I was like, cool, maybe we can explore this shortly. And we'll know more about Liam.
Yes, absolutely. Let's see what depth he has.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, I started thinking about how difficult it must be for Josie. Imagine, so this guy's supposed to be big enough to fill out a big venue.
Yeah.
So he's going to be on the telly, in adverts, everywhere. And imagine just seeing him everywhere.
Yeah.
It would just be really difficult.
She makes an allusion later on to the fact how famous he actually is and what that means to the town later on. I'm sure it'll come up. If it doesn't, I'll try and remember. But the one thing I took away for this scene, which I've jotted down here, is that the 8 years haven't really been kind to Liam.
No. He makes a comment here as well about the fact that, Sam says to him, oh, hometown crowd. And he's like, no, I'm from a few towns over from here and I've not been back.
Yeah.
So he's clearly not been stayed in touch with anybody.
It's once again, the film's sort of signposting it for you. You know, just so you're aware, okay, because you might not pick up on the subtlety of it later. When he goes back home, and you'd get a perfect opportunity to explore that then.
Yes.
But, you know.
No, let's just say it now.
We'll just get it in the open now, which, to be fair, sometimes I do appreciate.
Yeah, you're not in this film for subtlety, I don't think. So the next morning, Liam wakes up, and there is a girl standing in his hotel room singing one of his songs into the mirror. And she is excited to see him wake up, and she says his name a lot. She just keeps saying She keeps saying
Liam.
Yeah, she's like, Liam Page.
Oh, it's not
Liam
even
Page.
just saying Liam, it's like Liam Page.
And some people are just full name people.
Well, actually, I was thinking, I think I'd probably have a hard time if I met a celebrity to not say their full name. I think I'd probably be fine with it. I'd probably be like, all right. I'd probably end up acting overly casual and a bit tragic, is probably the way I'd go.
Yeah, I think I probably would also go down the overly casual, I'm dying inside, but I'm just playing it cool, all right, Ewan? If I met Ewan McGregor?
Yeah, I don't know what I'd do. I think I'd just be like, oh, it's you or something.
It's yourself.
It's yourself. Or I'd be like, it's Obi-Wan. But no, I don't know what I honestly do, Ken. I always feel dead awkward and I will only approach
I don't like
someone when I see them out and about. Like, we were at the theatre a few weeks ago and we saw Bobby the barman for Still Game.
Yeah.
Gavin, what's his name?
Gavin Mitchell.
Seen Gavin Mitchell. But firstly, I didn't ken his name was Gavin Mitchell. Which is, 101, if you ken their name before you stop them.
Yeah, you don't want to be like, all right, Bobby.
Aye, and then, Ken, I knew his name was Gavin, but I'd forgotten the latter part, which I just did again. But, we just strutted past him. He was having a conversation with somebody.
He was deep in conversation with somebody you clearly knew. Yeah.
Although I know some folk feel all right with doing it, and it's like, well, why did you miss the opportunity, which I also totally get to.
Yeah, and I think it's dependent on the person as well, and the situation. If you're in a toilet, maybe don't say something to somebody. But if they're waiting on a train, for example, and they seem amiable enough.
Aye. Well, anyway, the lassie in the hotel room looks just like Josie. So it's not even subtle that all the women he's picking look like Josie.
Yeah, she had the kind of long blonde hair and the Liam Payne t-shirt.
Ah, of course. Like
Maybe
Liam Payne.
I would suspect that...
Do you mean Liam Page? You said Payne.
Do you know I've been having a real problem with this? Because Liam Payne is the person from One Direction who sadly died not long ago.
Oh, yeah.
So my brain keeps going Liam Payne, but it's Liam Page.
Understandable.
Yeah, sorry, Liam Page t-shirt, but I doubt Josie owns one of those.
And he also gets pretty pissed about his pure scaffy-ass phone.
Yeah, so she's so excited to see him waking up that she's jumping up and down. She's literally jumping, and she ends up jumping on top of his like flip phone with an aerial.
Yeah, this flip phone. And see, as soon as I saw it, I knew exactly why he had it, and I think everybody watching probably did.
Yeah.
You know, because I was like, aye. Anyway, I don't want to say because we'll get there shortly.
So he freaks out. He absolutely freaks out when she's jumping up and down the floor. He jumps out of bed and pulls on some clothes and runs barefoot out of the hotel room with the phone in his hand. At the concierge desk, he's asking, like, where is the nearest cell phone store?
Yeah. In the meantime, everybody's going, oh my God, it's Liam Page.
Yeah.
Like, left, right and centre, folk are but it's like, it's absurd.
Yeah, like, he's beyond famous, apparently. Like, it's you'd have to be, like, superstar famous to get the level of attention. It's like Beatlemania.
It's like angry.
Levels.
It's almost Angry Mob level. And you know what I wrote down here was that it was like a cartoon or a quote unquote Buffy curse.
Oh yeah,
because this feels like the kind of thing that would happen in a Buffy episode.
Totally.
Xander, like when Kim, what? That's what I'm liking it to. Like when Xander has all the women coming after him.
Yes.
Because there's a mix up with the wolf potion or something.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Right.
Good memory.
All the women come after Xander and he's like running away from them and that's what this is like.
It is. But when he's speaking to the concierge, he's speaking to her like she doesn't speak English.
Yeah.
It's a very unusual interaction.
To be honest, I wouldn't even pick that out as a bad thing at this point because it seems like Liam does not know how to function in society whatsoever.
That's a very good point. Very good point. So he finds out where the nearest shop is and takes off, running down the street barefooted to the shop. And as you say, fans are taking videos, pictures and chasing him in a sort of zombie horde-esque style.
It's weird.
Very odd.
Again, they just want to hammer across here a point, and that point is he's very famous.
yeah, that definitely shone through. When he gets to the store, he goes in and it's quite empty, and they shut the door behind him, and you just see people like banging on the door behind him, and he announces that he will give $10,000 to the person who can fix his phone.
So a way to whip the mob into more of a frenzy.
Well, this is it. Yeah, start throwing money about. That'll keep everybody calm. So there's several Star Trek employees surround him before the store manager comes out and takes him back into the office. And then the manager has to deal with one employee in particular. Yeah,
this employee is very excited. Well, not even excited. I'm just a bit starstruck. Jojo, release the device, please.
It was so funny.
It's with such authority.
Jojo was clearly so starstruck that she just didn't want to let go.
No, I think she's just a bit, she doesn't know what's going on. Starstruck's the right term to use. She doesn't know what to do. She's not really functioning properly at this point.
No, she's forgotten how to be a human being because he is that famous.
Just in case you didn't know.
So the manager manages to take his rubbish old taped together phone in the back and do something to the motherboard.
Right. I was like, shenanigans, right? There is no way you take your phone to a phone shop, they're going to take it apart. No way. Even by modern repair standards, generally, in fact, companies like Apple have been sort of lynched for being so wasteful. It's just easier to replace the unit and quicker. Mm-hmm. Therefore, probably less costly, which is wild.
It is crazy.
Right? So that's why we've got companies like Fairphone who pride themselves on being able to repair your phone and repair your devices.
Totally.
Right? Which is a great idea. But I was like that, no way. So I text the authority on this last night. Mm-hmm. Our pal Rab.
I was wondering what you were texting Rab about.
Well, because I was like, he'll ken, and immediately I was like, I actually prefaced it with podcast research, so he knew. And he immediately got in touch and he was like, no way are they doing that in a phone shop. He used to work in a phone shop,
for
a famous phone shop,
yeah,
for quite some time. So cheers Rab for that.
Thanks for the insider info. So as I said, the store manager takes Liam into the office and the manager manages to fix the motherboard and fix the phone. And commenting that it is a classic. I
also like they'd probably look at it and be like, what's this piece of trash?
Yeah.
What are you bringing this in here for?
I know, like it's got a bent antenna, like it's got green tape holding it together. I'm not touching that with a barge pole, mate. But I will take the 10 grand, thank you.
You'd be better off with an iPhone 2.
Right, this film's not that old.
But the phone is.
Well, that's also true. The old style flip phone has been held together with duct tape, as we say, and when he hands the phone back to Liam, he says, oh, there must be something really important on there for you to want to fix it so badly.
I wonder what that could be.
I know.
It's no pictures anyway.
It's not pictures, no. It transpires that there are messages on there that he wants to keep. Just one message in particular. So left alone in the office, Liam accesses a saved message, which happens to be from Josie.
Wow, what a surprise.
And also, if it was that important to him, do you not think he would have found a way to back it up elsewhere? Like, just text it to somebody else.
Listen,
like, there's a way to transfer that file.
I don't want to go on about this too much, but Liam does not seem like the sharpest tool in this shed, and I don't like to say that about anyone.
Yeah.
We did say that last week about Wayne and Evolution.
Yeah, okay.
Characters can be written in such a way to come across as not very intelligent, or at least to not have much life experience or whatever else. So that's probably why he's not really fixed the problem or figured out an alternative, because he's not really thought about it.
I think this is the thing, is that also it's just not important to him.
Well, it's clearly important to him because he listens to it every day.
Well, that's the thing. The messages are important to him, but the technology isn't. But we'll come on to that later, I'm sure. When Liam returns to the hotel, Sam is there, and he is absolutely furious.
That's TOONS to you and I.
That's TOONS, yeah. He's furious that Liam took off, and there are videos of him running down the street in his bare feet, all over the telly and the internet.
Yeah, because, you know, Liam mania is going on, so...
Yeah, this is it. And also, like... So what? Like, TMZ have got video footage of him running down the street.
To be fair, that time Paul McCartney was in his bare feet, caused an absolute stooshy because everybody thought he was dead.
Oh, that's true.
Sorry, just to round up that wee story, in case you aren't aware, Paul McCartney doesn't have socks on in the Abbey Road cover, or shoes. He's just got feet.
He's
right?
just barefooted, yeah.
Just the feet, right? And so folk were like, oh God, it's because he's dead, because it's like a Buddhist symbol of death or something like that. I can't remember the ins and outs, I could be wrong, but people did think he was dead.
See, I would have appreciated it if they'd made a joke like that in this point of the film.
Oh no, I didn't have the licensing to mention the Beatles.
At this point, Sam is also talking to him about the fact that they need to get these new songs to the record label.
Yeah,
and
Big TOONS is determined to get these songs to the record label.
He really is, but he kind of makes it sound almost like a drug deal at this point.
Yeah, it does sound quite shifty.
Yeah, it was like, oh, you know, we really need to get it to them. Like, oh, you know, they're going to be like really mad. And it's like, okay, I know there's contractual obligations, but there's always ways around it, you know. Good communication can solve all those issues.
I was still confused as to what Sam's role was here, and I was like, who is this guy? Is he some sort of skivvy? But it turns out he's the manager.
Liam lies down on the couch and tells Sam to get him an espresso, so he's clearly not very worried about it.
Again, just another example about how Liam can't do anything for himself.
The TV is on in the background, and he notices a news story on the telly saying that Mason, his groomsman from the opening scene, has been killed in a car accident. And Liam just stares at the telly in disbelief.
Yeah, poor Liam. Feel sorry for him.
Yeah, horrible way to find out. He responds to this by going up onto the roof with a baseball cap and sunglasses, because he's so famous that even on a roof he would be recognised.
He could be.
Could be. And he clearly has a can of something, which I assume is beer.
Iron Brew.
Hopefully, if he has good taste. But he drops this can.
I said that no just to appear overtly Scottish or anything. I said that because there's one in front of you.
Yeah, I do. Like,
Would you have one also?
I do.
Right now.
I have no regrets. Apart from the fact it's very gassy. But yeah, he drops this can off the roof, like he's looking very sad. Like, obviously, a pal I've not seen for 8 years has just died, very sad. I'm going to drop this can off the roof, which I thought was totally irresponsible.
Yeah, I actually wrote down here, so it's really horrible that his pal's died, right? But what are you thinking, going up on a roof and dropping a can off it? Your pal's just died in a car-related accident, and you think it's appropriate to go up on a roof and drop a can off. But once again, I think it just is a point to show that Liam's, to be honest, I'm not 100% sure the filmmakers meant anything by that.
No.
If you catch my meaning.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, you know, it does show you once again that Liam is Liam is a chronic man-child.
He is. He's so selfish. He's only absorbed in what he wants to do.
And he can't really do anything for himself either. So.
No. Later on, Sam is trying to get Liam to the airport so they can get to the final concert of the tour. Liam tells the driver he'll pay him $1,000 to get him out of there, and he happily obliges.
Happily is one way to put it. The guy's like, yes, sir. And he's like, look ahead, because he's getting $1,000. He's like, let's go.
Yeah, which
Where do I go right now? Japan? Let's go.
Yeah, I'll drive you to Japan. It's an island, but I'll make it work.
For $1,000? Yes.
But that's not a lot, that's a lot of money. But, like, considering that he'll probably lose the contract for his job.
I was kind of like, you're going to lose your job here, but let's face it, it gets mentioned in a second. Because when they get to wherever they're going, to St. Augustine, he basically turns into the driver and he's like, mate, if you want to keep your job, didn't he tell anybody where I am?
Yeah, so he's 100%
the assumption is he's not going to lose his job at all for doing this.
Well,
but he should,
not.
Because it's, I don't know.
Yeah, like
the film, in a very naive way, makes it out that Liam's the one that has charge of such a thing. Doesn't he?
He's calling all the shots when that's not the case at all. Like,
and it's actually alluded to in the rest of the film how much control he doesn't have.
That's true. Yeah, so that driver's probably on his way to the unemployment office.
The unemployment line!
That's the one. So like, as much as it's very sad that Mason has died, but what are the chances of one man being in a car accident? Okay, it was with a drunk driver, making like headline news.
I don't think there's much of a chance of that. I mean, I know it's New Orleans, so he's nearby.
Yeah.
It would be very local news.
It would
if it
be
was
very
here, it would be in the local Facebook group. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. And the thing is, it even goes into the detail of like the funeral arrangements, which I just don't think is very realistic.
Also, right, so he's heading to Mason's funeral.
Mm-hmm.
How friggin' quick is this funeral came about?
I was also wondering this. So they're announcing there's been an accident, and then I assume the next day, because he goes from nighttime to daytime.
It's like it must be overnight.
Yeah.
So the funeral's happening pretty promptly.
It is.
So when Liam gets to the church, he walks to the door, but he doesn't quite go in, because he sits on the steps and sort of listens to the preacher talk about what a good man Mason was. So he's not really there, he's kind of outside, which is probably for the better, because he's not dressed for a funeral in any way, shape or form.
No, he's not, but just what an awkward place to sit.
It's so awkward, man.
Yeah.
That being said, not everybody wants suits and black ties for funerals. You know, I've sadly had friends that have died who have had, like, they want you, like, it's been in their wishes to have, like, the maddest t-shirt you have at their funeral. Like, I knew a guy, a great guy, who, when he passed away, his funeral, they brought his coffin into the Imperial March from Star Wars. It was so funny, because that's the kind of guy he was. And it's like, I think more and more funerals are starting to become in that, you know?
Yeah, it's about
more of a
you.
celebration of somebody's life, and more, you must dress up and mourn, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Obviously, you're going to mourn. Everybody's going to mourn. Everybody's going to be upset. There were tears at that funeral I'm talking about. But, you know, everybody was at the same time celebrating the person's life, you know? So that got really deep.
It's all good.
So his head's sort of down, right, and he turns away for the door. He bumps into Josie.
Wow.
And a young girl
Ooh.
who's rushing into the service, a wee lassie.
Oh, wow.
Josie and Liam kind of lock eyes, and then she grabs the wee lassie and they go inside the church. She sits next to her brother and she basically turns around to me and she's like, Liam's outside. And her brother's not happy.
No, he is not.
Her brother's class.
Yeah, he's the only semi-realistic character in this movie.
He's the only one who just has nothing to do with Liam's nonsense. Mm-hmm. There's a line later on where he actually says something like, you might have everybody else in this town fooled.
Yeah.
You've not got me fooled, and that's basically it.
But if you are going to hang about on the stairs, you will bump into your ex.
Aye.
Basically. He would have made less of an impact if he had just gone in and gone in the back row.
Yeah, he was absolutely desperate to bump into her, clearly.
Yeah.
But yeah, the wee girl is actually played by the girl who was Cassie in the early Ant-Man movie.
Yes,
Sorry,
that's right.
in the first Ant-Man movie.
Her name is Abby Ryder Fortson.
That's right, and her character name's Billy, which is going to come up again. After the funeral, Liam's sort of watching the cemetery burial for a distance. And when the graveside sort of service is done, Josie tells her brother to take her daughter so she can go and speak to Liam. He doesn't really want her to. He's not happy about that immediately. But she goes anyway. She walks up to Liam and she sort of punches him hard in the stomach. Bam! And she walks away without saying anything. It's one of these things, because like the first thing I thought, it was like Jinx tried to like 5-finger death punch him, kind of like the thing from like Kill Bill.
I wouldn't blame her.
She was like, but she doesn't quite know what to do, so she kind of doesn't do it successfully. We're doing a much shorter film.
Yeah, would have been.
But the one thing I thought here, right, because I was thinking about that, then I thought about 5-finger death punch, who I haven't thought about for a while. Mm-hmm. They're heavy, like if you didn't ken, if you're into metal music, they're kind of metal sort of, everybody's allowed to take the mick out of 5-finger death punch.
Yeah.
Similar to how people rip into Nickelback, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
But I was like, do you think this film is to country, right, what 5-finger death punch are to metal music?
Yeah, it's a bit country by numbers, which I always feel that 5-finger death punch are a bit sort of heavy metal by numbers.
By numbers, aye, definitely.
It's about the basic building blocks are all put together. But she does give him a really good whack. When she hits him, he goes down like a sack of spuds.
Aye?
Yeah.
I didn't remember that.
No.
I think I was too busy taking note. You rewound it at one point because you were like, did she just punch him? Because we didn't actually see it.
Well, actually, we rewound it because I thought she kicked him in between the legs.
Right. Oh, you thought it was a sort of nutcracker.
I thought it was a low blow, yeah.
So Liam's been crumpled to the deck and he looks up and he sees his dad and he's like, hi, Dad. Not quite like that, but he does say hi, Dad.
He does, and it transpires that his dad's the preacher.
Of course.
Yeah. Who saw that one coming?
I was like, whoa, his dad's a preacher. But anyway, Liam goes in to stay at his dad's house, and there is obviously tension between the two. You know, he's not exactly been very warm to the fact his son's come home, or that he's no happy to see his son. And if your son was that famous, you probably wouldn't see them as frequently, so you'd probably be excited to see them. And he's not really, is he?
No. You get the impression they've not seen each other for a while.
His dad's a wee bit bitter that Liam's not really been home for 8 years. And I say no really, he's just been home for 8 years.
No, but no phone calls, no letters, no contact.
No contact since he became famous. And Liam wants to know if there's a car he can use while he's there. And his dad's like, your bike's still in the garage. Which is just the best, eh?
Yeah.
I think he's my favourite character.
I love the dad. I think he's great.
The dad, aye. His dad leaves for work and he tells him that he can make dinner if Liam sticks around that long.
Yeah, there's lots of things like that have the undertone of just real annoyance. Like he says something like, well, I have to leave for work at 9 a.m. And like he just keeps making little digs like that.
Aye. Well, actually, he makes a dig at Liam because Liam gets up at 9:30 because he was like, it's 9:30. And I immediately was turning to Kat and I went, we're waking up in time. It's 9:30. And I'm waking up for Sunday brunch.
We love that Sunday brunch tune.
Well, because especially when I was working before, Sundays were a chill day. So you get up and you'd be like, it's at 9:30. Like Sunday brunch was on and that was the theme tune for it. It's a show on Channel 4 and it's like a sort of weekly, it's a fluff show.
It is.
Where they do a bit of cooking and they interview some celebrities and they do TV for pets and all this other pish.
Yeah.
Right? But sometimes on a Sunday morning I chuck it on. Okay?
Yeah.
But as soon as they say 9:30, and when anybody says 9:30, that's the first thing I think.
Liam also makes a comment here when he asks about a car that I thought was quite interesting.
Aye.
Where he says, like, is there a car? And his dad's like, no. And he's like, oh, do you have Uber here?
Yeah, he does. He asks him if he's got Uber, and it's like, they're like, well, no. But it's like, well, listen, how wee is St. Augustine?
Yeah, it looks like a wee place.
Aye, but no that wee that you wouldn't have Uber. But then maybe there's nothing much else about. Like, we have Uber here.
Yeah,
but we're not in the centre of Edinburgh. We're a wee bit further out.
Well,
but we're still... But I guess in America, a main city could be quite far away from a town and maybe you wouldn't get Uber.
Dundee doesn't have Uber.
That's really surprising. Dundee's one of our biggest cities.
I was surprised that Uber does not exist in Dundee.
So is that like, is there any, is it further north? Can you get it in like Aberdeen?
Don't know. We'll have to do some
Inverness?
research. Yeah.
I wonder. Very odd.
Very strange. I'm not sure why it's not in Dundee.
Okay, and Dundee's quite a built up area. It's a massive city. What's it they're famous for? Jute jam and... Journalism.
Yeah, I'll not say what I said last time.
Well, there's a fourth J that some people throw in there, which is unfair.
Yeah.
Given that we're from Edinburgh, it's not really a slur that we can throw about.
Yes, train spotting definitely shines a light on that.
I didn't do as much favours, eh?
No, it did not.
FYI, if you're not from Scotland or the UK and you've not seen Trainspotting, watch it.
Yeah, it's...
Fab film, that relatively probably accurate snapshot of Edinburgh at the time.
In the 90s, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, just to go back to that Uber thing.
Oh, just to go back to the movie. I mean...
Yeah, I know. Sorry. I know we'd rather talk about anything else in this movie, but, you know, whatever.
Did he say that now? Did he say that now? Right.
I'm just kidding. Yeah, like as if Liam could order an Uber off his old phone anyway. And also...
Oh, you can't phone Uber.
No,
so
you
how the hell is he
Uber.
going to get Uber on his Motorola V3 or whatever it is?
Exactly.
I don't know if that's a thing.
Motorola Razor.
Is it Razor?
It's not a Razor.
I had one of those, I think. It was
Did
class. Loved it.
So yeah, and I suspect he'd have somebody order the Uber for him because he's not very tech savvy.
No, he's not in that kind of... You would see that pop up again. Was a Mozzarella. Mozzarella.
Well, I like mozzarella.
Was the Motorola...
How
do you say it?
Motorola.
Is the Motorola? Is the Motorola V3 actually a phone, or have I made that up?
I have no idea.
Okay. Do you want to find out?
Yeah.
Right, hold on.
Yeah, another chance to not talk about this film.
So the Motovona...
What is wrong with you?
I don't know, man. The Motorola, if I say it like that, I can get it out. The V3 was the Razor, that phone. That's why that must have been why it popped in my mind, because I had one. So Liam calls TOONS and asks him for credit cards and if he can buy a car.
Oh, nice. But it does kind of feel like almost like
I had a conversation with my dad like that last week.
Well, there you go. That's what
that was a lie. I'm just kidding. And he'd tell me to go and do one anyway.
Yeah.
He probably wouldn't.
Probably help us out. But anyway.
What do you need? You hiding a body? Where do you want to bury cat? Let's do it.
It does... Oh, no. I've been killed.
I've been killed.
I've been killed. No, but it does feel that kind of parental child phone call, like, oh, can I have credit cards and a car?
That's because he is a child. Everybody he talks to, he comes across as a child, even when he talks to the child later.
Yes.
At first, Sam's really upset because Liam's missed a concert. It's not just any concert, it's the last one of the tour, I think, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's the finale.
And nobody knows where he is. And we were dead at TOONS rage when he's speaking to Liam on the phone, eh? Do you know that right now the whole world is wondering where Liam Page is? Have you turned on a TV? Does that prehistoric cell phone of yours even have Wi-Fi?
Wi-Fi.
Even have Wi-Fi?
And the answer is no. That phone would definitely not have Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Sam knows that phone, quote-unquote prehistoric phone, doesn't have Wi-Fi.
For sure.
Basically, his publicist sending out all sorts of press releases, making up stories to explain his absence.
Yeah.
Do you remember any of them?
I think one of them's rehab.
That's a bit random, eh?
Yeah, which feels like not the sort of story. But I guess it's better than saying that you don't know where he is at all.
It's true.
And
It's true. And I also think maybe now when you hear like a celebrity, a famous person has went into rehab, it's more of a thing of support.
yeah.
You know, if you are out there, anybody or whatever, and you need help, ask for it.
Yeah.
There's never any shame, especially not in me.
Never any shame.
Never any shame, ever. But I think that's, so maybe, I guess rehab would be a feasible option to put it there.
And also, I don't think it would be a bad option for Liam to pursue himself.
No, that is valid. Like, I think Liam's got some issues in that front. Hence, bring me up a load of vodka and a steak.
Yeah. Needs to
It's
cut back on the steak.
I'll have alcohol-free vodka and a steak, please.
Yeah, some striker.
Striker! That's what it's called, eh? That's Alan Partridge, eh?
Yeah.
Striker!
Yeah, I think it's just strike.
I think it's just Striker.
But it's got a Y, so
But
that
we
makes it
always
cool.
call it Striker
We do call it striker.
because Alan Partridge.
Yeah, basically.
Liam tells Sam that his friend's been killed and that he's in his hometown. Sam immediately softens and tells him that he'll take care of everything.
Yeah, it becomes quite clear that Sam does genuinely care for Liam.
Aye, at this point. Because up to this point, it just seems like Sam's raging at Liam, and quite rightly so. But actually here he's really kind of understanding, isn't he?
He is. And also I can imagine that Liam would just be the most infuriating person to try and wrangle anywhere.
Oh, absolutely.
Must be hell on earth.
Liam gets his bike out and heads to the shop to buy booze, basically. And the lassie at the shop basically says that, I went to high school with you. And she seems a bit miffed at, or at least just a bit like, oh, right, fair enough, that he just doesn't remember her.
Yeah, and I kind of feel for Liam at this point because this is something that happens to me on a not unregular basis. Where people are like, oh, we went to school together. And I'm like, did we?
Aye, I know. Aye. And it's no even a jibe. It's just that I don't remember a lot of people from school.
Nah.
Like, people used to say that to me at school. I've spoke a wee bit on this podcast about no going to parties and stuff like that. I just wasn't very social. And so, like, folk would be like, oh, do you ken what's his name, what's his place, or whatever? And I'd be like, no idea who you're on about. No one. He takes a bottle and the bike and sits down on a bench.
He does the classic Ned manoeuvre here of being able to cycle with one hand.
Oh, I know. Like, Neds are really good at doing it in nae hands. I seen one rallying past the house a couple of weeks ago and I was like, how did he do that, man?
I know. Why are they all intrinsically so good at riding a bike?
Equally, a few weeks ago, out there, I seen a wee girl, tiny wee girl, cycling on her bike, no hands. I was like, I meant to tell you at the time, I was like, that's class.
Honestly, there's so many wee kids that cycle past and they do, like, a lot of them are with their parents. It's quite nice seeing them learn to cycle.
We live right next to a sort of primary school here, and so we see loads of wee kids going to school on wee bikes and that.
Very nice. Liam, despite his external appearance of being very fit, is the sweatiest person you have ever seen.
It's outrageous. I actually had it in my notes later on. Like, why is he so sweaty all the time?
Yeah.
Now, bear in mind, this is Louisiana.
Yeah.
So, no exactly fresh.
No, it will be very humid. But, like, when he's running into the cell phone shop earlier in the film, very sweaty.
Aye.
Cycling around town, extraordinarily sweaty.
I'll just stop you there. Pretty much the rest of the film, he's just sweaty.
Yeah, he needs to stop wearing grey.
I don't know why they're like, I think they throw buckets of water on him between takes.
Yeah.
It's like, you've got to make sure you're sweaty, like, for some reason.
Yeah, that's what they spent the budget on, was all just sweat for Liam.
Just then, Liam sees Josie walk into a flower sort of shop across the street, and he follows her in. Josie is not best pleased to see Liam. He tries to be sort of apologetic, and the exchange sort of awkward small talk is horrendous.
Yeah, there's a customer in the shop at this point who was always the bane of my life when I worked in retail. It was a person who was counting out change.
Yeah, oh, she's like taking ages to do it, aye.
Oh, she really is. She's like 10,
I see it at the shop.
20. I'm like, oh.
I was buying rolls or something the other morning there. There was a woman at the shop just like counting out her change.
That's one thing. Like, I know that some people love cash still, but I really don't miss it.
I know. But I think there's some folk have valid reasons for what I use it, I guess.
Yeah, and it's better for small businesses to use cash, I know.
Right.
But
That being said, your mum has a small business.
she does have a small business.
And she
yes.
takes card.
She does take
So,
card.
Just saying.
Mm-hmm.
Josie then sort of helps the wee lady that was counting out the change into her car.
She does.
And it's quite funny because it's clear at this point that everybody really kens who Liam is. Obviously, I mean, he's very famous, but people here know who he is also.
Mm.
Let me get that for you. Now y'all have a nice day. Sure will, dear. Idiot.
I just absolutely love that she throws Liam some shade.
Yeah, and I think that's definitely the feeling in this town is that a lot of people are annoyed at Liam
Yep.
for just basically ditching everybody and leaving Josie behind.
Without saying anything, and the next day probably be on telly and that.
Exactly.
Josie tells Liam that the flower shop's hers and that she bought it a few years back and that she's doing pretty well for herself on her own.
Good for you, Josie. Good for you.
Get up, you Liam.
That don't impress me much.
Sorry.
Country star.
Aye. We'll say, pop, country. I'd still arguably say Shania Twain's country. The door opens and a woman comes in with a couple of kids, including Josie's daughter. Liam starts talking to the wee lassie and she tells him that she's 7 and her name is Billy. She also says that she knows who he is. Which is quite funny because she obviously remembers him from sitting outside the church the other day. But it is quite funny because this is where we see that Billy is very sassy.
I know you. You were outside the church yesterday. You're that country star my mama listens to sometimes. I mean, I just have the radio on sometimes. Not really my cup of tea. No offense.
That's class. By the way, yes, I did have to increase the pitch for Kat to do the Billy impressions,
Yeah.
which you were very good at.
Thank you. I did enjoy doing the southern drawl.
Sometimes.
So I probably left that one a little bit too long.
But I do love it though that she's so sassy. She's like, well, it's not really for me, sorry. Josie asks her pal to take the kids for some ice cream so she can talk to Liam, and she confesses that she found out she was pregnant 2 weeks after he left her at the altar. Oof. She tried to contact him, but he never called back, and she promised herself that if he didn't call back, she would never try to contact him again. Fair or not fair?
That's a tough one. I think fair, given that he left her at the altar.
I don't know. I feel like it's just like, oh, well, he's not tried to contact me again, so I'll just leave the fact that I have his daughter. Do you know what I mean? And I get that everybody seems to hammer home that, well, Liam never got back in touch with us again. A lot of this stuff is like, it's like, for firstly, right, it's a child. There are things like child support, etc. You know?
Yeah.
Obviously, she maybe just wasn't interested. I don't know how that works. The other thing is his dad just being like, oh, well, screw him. It just seems like everybody's been willing to drop him like a hot tatty because he was on the telly. And I get that he abandoned everybody and he's no obviously got back in touch with them. But I just feel like maybe you could try a wee bit harder. There's bound to be someone you can get in touch with to say, can you let Liam know he has a child?
Well, yeah. But also, how many of those sort of fake calls do you think they get in a day?
True.
Like, it's a difficult one. I think she probably should have let him know. She could have written him a letter. The situation with his dad does there's a bit more of an in-depth chat about that later in the film, kind of going into it a bit more. I think Liam never seems to take responsibility for anything.
No, he doesn't.
So I think the burden should have been on him to check in with people he's supposed to have loved and cared about.
Also, something else to say here. She actually goes into the flower fridge and takes out beers.
She does go into the flower
beer.
fridge.
I think she gives him a beer, but she's just
no,
like...
she has one for herself.
Yeah, she's like, oh, cool, I've got secret beer in here.
I don't think he needs beer.
He's already drunk. And then also had here, she's a good actress.
I really like her.
She is.
Yeah, I like Jessica Roth. She's good. Hope she's going to be in more things. So Liam goes back to his dad's house where his dad is making dinner. Liam is really annoyed at his dad and starts yelling at him for not telling him that he has a daughter, which I think is kind of understandable. But his dad gets very angry back and says that he did tell him. And Liam asks what he's talking about, and his dad says that he tried to call Liam loads of times, but never got a response, wouldn't answer. So his dad flew out to Seattle to see him in person at one of his concerts, and he said something like, I bought a ticket like a member of the public
I had to
see
blag
it.
my way in as well.
Yeah, and then he had to get past security to let him backstage, but that Liam was in just such a state that he told his dad to leave and then never come back. So he had decided then that Josie and Billy would be better off without him in their life. But Liam doesn't remember any of this.
No.
And you can see that he's quite embarrassed to be told that that is the way he behaved.
I've already discussed too, like, do you just get up on somebody at that point? Maybe that, and that's why they've all done it, you know what I mean?
It's always a tough one to comment on, like, you don't know how you're going to react until you're in that situation. But another line from Liam's dad here was a real stinger, basically being like, oh yeah, you seem to have really got it together now, son.
Aye, i.e. you've not got it together.
No, he does not. So the next day, you see Liam's dad taking the sermon at the church because he is the pastor of the town, and he is preaching to the congregation around forgiveness, which seems to really resonate. And as the town are leaving, Liam is also on the steps, and a lot of the people within the town tend to become less cold to Liam as they're passing by.
Yeah, and it's like, are they less cold because they're like, because he's just given this sermon on forgiveness, or because the preacher's there? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The one thing I know I had noted down here was hat pile.
I also noticed this hat pile.
There was a pile, everybody's coming off and they're all putting their hats in a pile, and I'm like, that's not a thing at North Esk.
No,
I've
it's
sat
not.
there before with my pure Motorhead backwards cap on.
That's still very rude.
Honestly, it's fine. My hair was really messy.
Well, maybe it's less rude to not have your messy hair out.
Aye, but like, some of the ladies at the church wear their hats.
Do they?
Aye.
Oh, they're also rude.
In the winter times.
To be fair, you don't want them getting a wee chill. Yeah, so
but it's also like, what if like some, I don't know, you take off your cool hat that you really like and you put it down, and when you come out friggin' Norman Albright or somebody in the corners taking my hat, that's my hat.
Norman Albright.
Sorry, I don't know.
I guess that is a risk, but maybe you put a label inside that says that, like, you know, in primary school.
Norman Albright, I hate that guy.
Yeah, also, it seems like quite a small place, so you could probably just go up to Norman and be like, that's my hat, mate.
But I just need to reiterate, there is no Norman Albright. There will be a Norman Albright, but not one I know.
Yeah, or in this film.
No, or in this film. Or maybe I feel like the wee guy that we go in and we see him putting his hat down, that's Norman Albright in my head.
I do think that the timing of the sermon is a bit manipulative, where it's like, oh, you know, we've all got to practice forgiveness, and, you know, we all make mistakes and all that sort of stuff. But here's my son who's made a huge mistake, and the town should really forgive him. Please
forgive him, please.
Yeah.
I think I don't know, I think sometimes a reverend will put something into their sermon that similar to a conversation they might have had that week.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've certainly had conversations with Hayley, and then in her sermon, she's like, later that week or at the end of the week, she talks about something, and I'm like, that's the conversation we had, or similar to, or linked to a conversation we had. So, you know, I think maybe what's happening in the reverend or preacher's life is likely to reflect sort of possibly what's in their sermon at times.
That makes sense.
In this case, he just wants everybody to forgive his son. Please, make my life easier and forgive my son. Come on, I mean.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what's happening here. And also maybe it's, as you say, it's a lesson for himself that he needs to learn to forgive Liam.
Yes.
Liam returns to the flower shop under the guise of wanting to buy flowers for Kira.
Oh, see, when you said that, I thought you said in a disguise. I didn't remember this at all. Hi, I'm here to buy some flowers. Liam, we all know it's you. Take off the stupid disguise.
The guys.
Take off that fake moustache. And that sweaty t-shirt. Oh, wait, that's yours.
Oh, no, wait, I could tell it. Oh, Liam, I could definitely tell that to you by your sweat patches.
And your stank, because it looks like it would smell.
Well, if you sweat that much, come on. He needs to get himself a good antiperspirant.
I'm just saying, right, Kim, we were in Florida for Orlando trip last year. I felt like I stank the whole time.
Oh, it was
because
so
it's just so hot and sticky.
So
and you're
hot.
like, so this guy must reek.
Yeah, especially it wasn't that humid when we were there.
I know. Aye, folk were well willing to tell you that. Eh? Oh, you've come at a kind of cooler time, or it's not as humid as it normally is. And I'm like, guys, how are you alive if it's more humid than this at any time?
Yeah, I've got a factor 50 plus on, please.
Oh my God. We
Wow.
actually did as well.
Yeah. So he comes in to buy 24 hydrangeas.
That's quite a lot.
Yeah.
Hydrangeas are quite bulky.
They are quite big flowers.
Have
I
ours
was
come
thinking
in?
this. Not yet. We've got some good buds coming up.
Nice.
But yeah, it's a very resilient plant.
It's a favourite.
It is a
I like
favourite.
that. I like the alliums as well, which are in full swing right now.
Mm-hmm. They
I've
are.
learned a lot about flowers this past few years.
Yeah, try to get better at gardening. Very much enjoy it. But yes, he wants to buy 24 hydrangeas, which I can't think of a single person who'd be like, oh, thanks, 24 hydrangeas.
Oh, I can't, because like I said, it takes up a lot of room, but also it comes to quite the sum, doesn't it?
That will be $187.51.
Here, I got my own credit card.
Congratulations.
So I not only do we, you know, it's a lot of money for these flowers, by the way. But
It's
also,
actually not.
nah,
No. So for 24 hydrangeas, $187.50, that works out like $7.80 a hydrangea, which isn't a huge amount.
feels like a lot.
Yeah.
Did I tell anybody that? Because they might start stealing them for gear them when they grow in.
Oh, well, this is it.
They sell them to folk down the street.
Well, if you could make £7 each. But the thing is, you see, if I was Josie, I'd be like, that is $5 million.
I know, eh?
I would absolutely chin him.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah. He's getting chinned.
It's the least he can do.
Yeah, he can afford it. It's fine. If he's that level of superstar, if we're talking like Taylor Swift,
Aye.
then he can afford it.
We're
It's
not
fine.
talking Taylor Swift, cat. We're talking Liam Page. I also love the fact that he's so proud that he's got his own credit card. And it's almost like he's flexing. Eh? He's like, I got my own credit card.
Yeah.
And it's like, right, mate, that's not really a flex. Especially when you're a grown-ass man
Well,
who's never used one before. With the sounds of
Well,
it.
this is it, because he didn't know how to operate the machine. But also the fact that he had to get them to the post. And Sam has arranged for them to come to the post, but also that a car has turned up for him, a convertible, no less.
Again,
Ooh.
as discussed later on.
So while he's in the shop buying the hydrangeas, he does talk to Josie about getting to know Billy, and that he says that he would do it entirely under Josie's terms, and Josie reluctantly agrees. So next we see Josie and Billy sharing some pancakes. They look lovely. And they cheers food like we do, Mikey.
Oh, we do that, aye.
Mm-hmm. Little cheers.
Pick up, say, your fork or whatever and clink them together.
Mm-hmm. And Josie says that she wants to talk to her about her father. Billy turns around to her at that point and just says, he seemed nice. And Josie is quite taken aback by this. And Billy has picked up on the fact that Liam is indeed her father. And Billy says that they were just too obvious. And he seemed very surprised to find out about her.
Yeah.
She then suggests that Josie invites Liam over for dinner so that she can get to know him better.
Yeah, Billy feels like she's way too smart for her age.
Yeah, she
to
does.
be that emotionally switched on, that emotionally intelligent. To be like, oh, I know he's my dad, by the way.
Yeah,
I don't know if is that a leap?
I think it is a bit of a leap that you would assume this. But I don't know, some kids are kind of old head on young shoulders sort of deal.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you'd be able to make that leap at 8 years old.
Mm.
Unless she's got some sort of Jedi mind trick thing going on.
Maybe there's a subplot we didn't pick up on.
Sorry.
Oh, Obi-Wan, here he comes.
Oh, check our midichlorian count. Here we go.
that annoyed a lot of folk, you know,
Did it?
back when that film came out.
Oh.
What's a midichlorian? We've never heard of this before. Because you had it in the 3 Star Wars movies we had at that point. It was kind of absurd, and folk were like, well, wait a minute, what's this now? George Lucas just shoehorning mere shit.
Yeah. It's right. But he did loads of stuff like that. Like, he was like, oh, you know, your dad was in the Clone Wars, and then never mentioned again until it
That
came
was
up
in the
again.
original trilogy, that's all right.
Totally. But, nah. So Liam wants to buy Billy a present. However, he is very used to other people doing everything for him because he's a chronic man-child. And he has to call Sam to find out how to order something online. At this point, he tells Sam that he has a daughter and that he's nervous and scared about becoming a dad. But Sam has total faith in him and tells him that he's going to be doing great at being a father while surrounded by his own gaggle of children. Sam seems to have about 4 kids.
Yeah, he does. He's got quite a few kids, and I think that when he says that to Sam, Towns, he's like that. Towns is like that. Aye, mate, I get that. Cool. Like, he is. He's quite emotionally switched on with her.
At the dinner, Josie's brother is also there. I'm sure Liam is thrilled about that because Josie's brother is not Liam's biggest fan.
Well, our brother's clearly no thrilled that Liam's there, so...
Yeah, the feeling's clearly mutual. They're quite standoffish with each other. And next to Billy at the table is a huge teddy bear. It is about 3 times the size that she is.
It's outrageous.
It is massive.
And it's a surefire sign of a guy who doesn't know what she likes, so buys her a giant teddy.
Well, this is it. And she doesn't seem that thrilled with it, to be honest.
No, she's just like, ugh, why is it so big? She says something like that.
Yeah. Liam is quite clearly being awkward, but Billy tries to put him at ease and then tells her mum to open her present because Liam has also got Josie a present. It is a beautiful necklace. Very nice. Billy asks Liam if she wants to go and see her room and meet her pet rabbit.
That she doesn't like.
That she doesn't like. Yeah, they don't seem to take the rabbit out of the cage because it bites and scratches.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Yeah, I feel sorry for that rabbit. But it reminds me of my hamster, Shirley.
Yeah, I thought of this too. And I was like, oh man, that's a nightmare. The bairn's got a pet she doesn't even want to touch. I had a hamster the same.
Yeah, vicious.
Susie, she was a raj.
I love the fact that we've got the two most unusual hamster names.
Pete had a Russian dwarf hamster also, and they sold us them both at the same time.
Yeah?
All they did was try and kill each other. It was like Russian fighting hamsters. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, were they both girls?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I think they sold us them. Maybe they sold us a pup or a Russian fighting hamster, as the case may be.
Maybe. But yeah, so we both know what it's like to have a pet.
I know. So at first I was like, oh, that's sad. And I went, oh, wait, no, I feel you.
Yeah, I've been there. And our poor parents have been there as well, been like, oh God, they hate that pet. Liam asks Billy if he can take the rabbit out of the hutch. And they sit on the floor with the rabbit. Billy tells Liam that he could pick her up from school the next day so they can get to know each other even better. What I loved about this whole scene was just Billy's sassiness comes right through. And you see that from the beginning.
And at the dinner specifically, yeah.
Thank you, Liam. You don't mind me calling you Liam, do you? Since I don't know you well enough to call you Dad.
Billy Ann, what's gotten into you?
What? It's the truth. I said I wanted to meet him, but I never said I'd be easy on him.
Fair, Billy, fair.
Yeah, another situation where she is spot on.
Yeah. She a badass. I actually wrote down, this little girl is great. I want one of these. That's what I wrote.
Yeah. After Diem.
Diem! Demos.
Demos. Yeah. After dinner, when Liam's getting ready to leave, they head out onto the porch and Josie gives the necklace back to Liam and says she can't accept it. She also tells him that Billy doesn't want anything from him. She just needs to get to know him. And Liam tells her that Billy has asked him to pick her up from school the next day. Josie's a little unsure, however, but she does finally agree to it. But she says that she also wants to be there and agrees to meet him there at 3 p.m.
Fair.
Which I think is totally fair. Like, I think nobody's addressing the elephant in the room at this point, in that at some point Liam is going to have to go back to his life as a pop star.
Aye, I know. It's going to have to happen, but we're like, no, it's cool. He's here to be a dad now.
Yeah, like.
So why is she letting him in the bairn's life when he's going to have to go back to his work?
Well, this is it. It just nobody mentions it.
Maybe she's thinking he's going to go back and make it work. So there's that.
Maybe, but I think they should start having these conversations sooner rather than later. But it doesn't happen.
There's a scene after this or around this part where he takes a call for Doris. Right. She's ranting about her salad order for far too long, right? It takes up a little bit of space because she's like, salad, in fact, cut this. In fact, no, I didn't want that. In fact, you got it wrong last time. You're just like, oh.
Yeah, it's unnecessary.
I know. And I think they're shoehorning it in so that it's that whole thing where it's like, oh, big city types. And didn't understand us little townspeople and like these big city types with their complicated salad orders. That's what it felt like to me.
Yeah, I would agree. Like, it just feels a bit weird. And also, she's got a belter of a name. It's Doris Grossnickel Hines.
Nice.
What a name.
Oh, heir to the Hines fortune. The Beans chick.
Yes. Although, in my notes, I've written Drois.
Drois.
Drois. Drois.
Drois. Oh.
Too much Skyrim for me, I think.
I can't remember if Drois comes back. Sounds like a shout, right?
Yeah.
Drois! There is one bit during the meal as well, which I really like, because her brother makes a sort of the obvious sort of statement, and she gives him a look like, shut it.
Oh,
like, I'm aware. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those moments where it's like, that's the last thing you need in that kind of situation.
Somebody has to say it. And I feel like her brother's the only one that's being upfront about things.
To be fair, in this movie, somebody has to say it, because everyone has to be super explicit.
That's also true. But yeah, another example of Josie being played very well as a character, that you get such a lot of nuance from that look alone.
So the car that Sam had delivered is a Mustang convertible, right?
Ooh.
Aye. So Liam's got his car, and the next day he goes to meet Josie and Billy at the school. Him and Josie talk a wee bit about how they went to the same school, and he's like, oh, we came out their doors one time. And then and Liam teases Josie that he doesn't actually know what a car seat is when she gives it to him. I don't think that's a tease. I think he doesn't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's a tease either.
Totally. Josie gives him the car seat, and Liam's basically like, doesn't care what it is, really.
Yeah.
Whether he's jibing or I don't care, but I don't think he is, right?
I didn't get the impression it was either.
Mason's widow calls Josie, and she's no doing so well, so Josie's like, listen, I'm going to have to go and help her. So Liam's like, fine, I'll take Billy in then, and she's like, this is what he did, blah, 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 blah. But Billy refuses to get in the car, reciting low survival rates for crashes in convertibles, which basically forces Liam to get his dad to pick them up.
Quite right. I like the fact that she stands up for what she believes in.
And she's got some stats. She's ready.
Yeah, she's got the facts.
But at this point, right, earlier I actually had on my notes, why is he always sweaty? But we've discussed that. But I've got here, why is he always screwing his face up?
Yeah.
He's like that all the time.
I do wonder if he's got bad eyesight.
It's like he's trying to see in the dark all the time.
Yeah.
It's like, stop screwing up your face.
Yeah.
Like something a child would do again.
Maybe he's got like a really sweaty forehead and he's trying to stop sweat getting in his eyes.
Well, I mean, I know he is sweaty, so fact.
Yeah, we've got the facts.
Back at his dad's house, Liam and Billy bond some more while his dad makes the dinner. So Billy brings out Liam's first guitar, given to him by his mum, also called Billy. I can't remember if we've actually said that or not.
No, we haven't.
Well, his mum was also called Billy. There's a bit earlier on where Liam basically says to Josie, but you called her Billy, that's my mum's name. And then Josie's like, aye, that was for your dad, no you, basically.
Slam dunk.
Aye. And then she makes a statement that everybody in the town loves his dad as well. Sorry, I didn't mention that earlier. They basically start to improvise a wee melody on this guitar. And when his dad burns himself in the kitchen, Liam jumps up to help, which is way off character for Liam, by the way. Billy picks up the guitar and starts to play it. And to both the guys' amazement, she's actually no bad.
I call shenanigans on this.
Yeah, me too. Liam asks how long she's played the guitar, and she's like, "This is the first time." And she's just watched what he did and basically has just tried to copy it. He tells her that he's going to take her guitar shopping.
Lovely.
And it is lovely, but again, she picks it up and she's so, like, she just does it right away. I call shenanigans as well, Kat. I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, I think it's just pretty lazy that it's like, oh, wow, she's a prodigy.
I know, it is very lazy, but, you know, reserve that for later. But the fact is, she just picks up the instrument and she can play it. That can happen, but maybe not when you're 8.
Yeah.
7. So she's 7.
Unlikely.
Right, but some kids probably can. You see kids on America's Got Talent, Britain's Got Talent, Italy's Got Talent, Russia's Got Talent probably.
And of course, that because we're in the south, what Liam's dad is making is gumbo.
Oh, he is making gumbo. There's a whole thing about, gumbo.
I really want to try gumbo.
We were on a plane once and they were serving gumbo, but I didn't get it because I was like, I'm on a plane. I'm probably not going to eat what they're giving me anyway, so I'm sure as hell not trying gumbo on a plane for the first time.
I don't remember this.
I don't remember. I think it was New York. I can't mind.
Probably.
It was a long time ago now.
I'm not even 100% sure what gumbo is, so I definitely wouldn't order it.
I think it's fishy, is it not?
I don't know. I don't think so, but...
The other thing that struck me here as well is how much Billy's changed her tune. She's hugging Liam in that. She's like, oh, Liam. And it's like, right, wait a minute ago you were all sceptical. Now you've totally changed her tune. Which, by the way, probably isn't out of character for a child.
I was
Kids
just
can be
thinking that.
fickle, right?
They can be.
And so, he's taking me guitar shopping. He's the best. And so when you're 7, maybe that is how it would work.
And also, he's investing time in her, like, because he's talking about like him teaching her to play guitar and the two of them doing it together and stuff like that. So it's kind of that promise of what she's wanted.
True, but it's just that when earlier on she's been so sassy and so above her age that now it's like, now she's slipping into a 7-year-old.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? So the next section of the movie I like to call Liam's redemption montage. Do you think that's fair?
I think that's fair.
Aye, we see all sorts going on here, but it's the cheesiest nonsense you've ever seen.
It really is.
They have they're petting the bunny and she's got a mandolin for some reason, so she's not got a guitar now, which is never referenced. You just see her with a mandolin. And again later on at the end of the film, and they have a sort of hose battle.
Yes, they have a water fight with
so
two
they're squirting
hoses.
each other with hose.
What garden has 2 hoses?
I know, I've not got 2, we've got 1 hose.
Yeah, and that's a pain in the bum to work with.
That's because we don't have an outside tap.
Yeah, got to use an indoor tap.
Annoying.
Yeah, he also buys his dad an espresso machine.
Yeah, he does. There's loads of stuff going on here.
Yeah.
But it's all very much Liam trying and everybody going, oh, he's all right then now.
Yeah,
and it's like he's doing the gardening or something as well at one point, I think.
Yeah, so they talk earlier. When he arrives back at his dad's house, he looks out the window and his mum had these amazing rose bushes. And he's like, oh, what happened to mum's amazing rose bushes? And he's like, oh, it just seemed like too much upkeep, which, to be fair, I can understand. So they replant the rose bushes. How lovely.
Things are going really well, obviously, hence montage. Liam's enjoying the time he's spending with Josie and Billy. And one night, Josie even lets Billy stay the night with Liam. It's all moving very fast, I think.
That is very quick, yeah.
As Liam is tucking her in, Billy asks him why he left her mum. So after a short bit of hesitation, he says that he was confused and young and dumb. He knows it was wrong, but he was lost and didn't know how to handle the fame of getting one song on the radio.
Yeah, that one time.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't know how to handle the fame at the time when you left. Like, I didn't get it. Josie and Liam's dad listen for the porch and the other room respectively as Liam and Billy are kind of talking. And they're both moved by Liam's honesty. And this is apparent by shots of them kind of smiling. And that. After Billy goes to sleep, Liam and Josie talk on the porch. And when Josie stands up to leave, she realises she's a wee bit tipsy.
Oh, what a lush.
And asks Liam to drive her home. When they get to her house, she tells Liam she wants something from him. To go on a date with the Liam Page, the famous country singer.
Wow.
And he asks her if she is ready for that. And she says yes, so he agrees. This isn't just a gear change for Billy. This is a huge gear change for Josie because of one montage.
Yeah, the montage has been very powerful. The ripples of the montage are far and wide.
Montages are powerful, as discussed in Team America, right? It's a fact.
It's true, yeah.
It just feels like everybody's changed after it. And the other thing is, why is she now all of a sudden, I want to go on a date with the Liam Page?
I don't know.
Eh.
I think it's a bit of a weird one where, like, they clearly have history and it's unresolved.
So Liam, might be the next day, I think it's the next day, again, Liam goes to pick Billy up for school.
And she has clearly changed her mind about the convertible.
I can't, because she's in about it now.
Yeah, she says that she is going to take the risk and live on the wild side.
Yeah, I was really worried about that. I was like, oh my God, they're going to crash. Eh.
Yeah.
I just had a feeling. They didn't crash, by the way, it's fine. But I was genuinely like, oh my God. And also, apparently she just loves country music now, eh? What kind of music you want to listen to?
Well, the only one there is country.
That's my girl. So it's all very sweet that they have a wee high five and that, and they're like, oh, yay. And then it's like, for some reason, he sounds like Elvis there. That was me. Sorry. That was on me.
That one was on you. I hadn't even recognised
What
that.
do you want to listen to? I don't know why then. Why? No idea.
I love it.
So we see Josie getting dressed all fancy and Billy helping her with her lipstick. At this point, Josie pulls out a picture of the two of them at high school.
Yeah.
And I was just like, literally looks like it could have been taken yesterday.
Yeah, it clearly was taken
They
yesterday.
look no different. Apart from she's dressed like a cheerleader and he's dressed like a football player or something.
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding. I genuinely think that's what they're dressed like.
That is what they're dressed like. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, no effort put in there. Didn't even like put like a year in the background to make it look like, oh wow, it was 94 or
that
whatever.
was shooting earlier that day.
Yeah.
They took the picture, I think. A stretched limo pulls up to take Josie to Liam, and the driver tells her that Mr. Page wants it to be a surprise. He takes her to a field where Liam is waiting with a helicopter.
Oh wow. You see, if I was going on a date with somebody and a stretch limo turned up,
Aye.
I'd be like, not sure about this.
About.
Yeah.
But I think that's what she's expecting or wants at this point.
Well,
she's like, I want to go on a date with the Liam Page.
but he's not even there. Like, so you open
even in the limo.
Yeah, you open the door of the limo and he's not there.
Oh, where the hell is he? Aye.
So we're having this date that we're not spending time together. Fab.
I do think it's worth pointing out here that her whole page turn here, she's changed completely, right? And I think it doesn't reflect well on her character at all. It takes away any depth her character could have had.
Yeah.
Because now all of a sudden she's like, oh, I want to go on a date with Liam Page. That'd be amazing to go on a date with a super country star.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's wild. It comes
I
out of
think
nowhere.
it kind of demeans this what could have been a sort of strong female character to the absolute opposite of that. What do you think?
I wholeheartedly agree.
They fly to New Orleans and are mobbed by press and fans immediately.
Of course they are.
I know, that's it. She doesn't look very comfortable, to be honest. But she kind of swings in and she kind of smiles politely. One reporter asks Liam who the beautiful woman is. And he replies, she's the one.
Of course he does.
I know. It's all very Hallmark, yeah?
Yeah.
That's in fact, that's how I'd describe this.
Mm-hmm.
A Hallmark movie, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When they're dancing and he's sort of kissing on the dance floor, there's a woman singing. I think it's a woman, I'm certain.
I'm pretty sure it's a woman,
and it's really soulful or sort of jazzy, and I'm like, oh, that's
beautiful.
just what I'm all about right now.
Yeah.
And so like I was like, I need to look into that because that was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, it's the best piece of music in the movie. And about a movie about a country singer, you know what I mean? That's the bit that stood out to me. That maybe says more about me than it does about anybody else and about the movie. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, it was very New Orleans, the vibe that was there.
Totally.
I think also at this point is where I had the realisation that Liam's actually never been that sorry for what he did.
No. He's Disney show remorse.
No, at no point.
Do you know why?
Why?
Because I'm of the opinion, and I've said this to a few people recently, showing remorse and showing forgiveness is a part of growing up.
Mm-hmm.
I feel. Liam's never grown up.
No.
That's
no,
what I think.
I agree. I agree with you. Yeah. Never taken any responsibility for what he did.
One afternoon, they're having a wee get-together with friends. It's like a barbecue sort of deal, eh?
Yeah.
And Liam and Billy are pretending to be lions, and they're tearing into quote-unquote bloody meat, which is blood dogs.
Oh.
So it's not a blood dog. Hey, it looks like a black pudding, but a hot dog. I'd eat that.
Not if you call it a blood dog.
Sorry, no, not really. Like I said, people call black pudding blood pudding in some parts of the country. Aye, because we were like, why is he referring to the ketchup as blood? But then we realised they were playing a game. That's why.
The whole thing should have just been scrapped.
Josie's brother arrives and realises that Billy's choking, and it's horrendous.
It's really terrifying.
He runs over to help, but Liam just stands there,
Yeah.
like a tatty. He's just no idea.
He's not even in the room anymore.
No, he's no. As Jake tries to perform the Heimlich on Billy, a thump between the shoulder blades, by the way, I believe is what is supposed to work. And then if not, Heimlich, I believe is the way.
Yeah, that's the way.
With Josie frantically telling Billy to hang on, Liam is still standing there like a tatty.
Yeah.
Eh.
Yeah. Just have a wee daydream.
But it turns out he's having a memory of walking into the hospital as a nurse tried to revive his mum. They try to get him to leave the room, but he stands there in shock as he realises his mum's dying. And then we get back to the present, and Jake is finally able to get the food out of Billy's throat, and she's fine, but Jake's mad at Liam for not doing anything. So when I saw this, I thought, I can't believe he freezes, but the fact is this, right? No everybody knows what to do in a crisis like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to sit there and understand that. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No everybody knows what the right thing to do is. But in that kind of case, doing something,
this is it.
regardless of whatever trauma you've got in your head, I'm not entirely sure that would that happen in real life? Would somebody stand there agog like a tatty, as I said, when this happened?
I think it can happen to some people, but certainly in this country, you would phone 999. And even if you don't need an ambulance to come to you, the person on the phone
will
can
tell you
instruct
what to do.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So I just don't like, even if you're like
that
totally
would be
like,
the same
oh my God,
across
I can't
there.
help.
If it was the same across there, you'd phone 911. They'd do the same.
Surely they must.
But then there's a big group of people there.
Yeah. And sometimes you can make things worse by having more bodies around, but at the same time, like, it is an emergency.
That's the
Do something.
I know, like, and the other thing here too is he's mad at Liam, but there's a bunch of adults there.
Yeah.
So why is it up to Liam? But then
Well,
he says to him, it's coming up. He says, if she was on her own with you, what would have happened?
This is it, because he's happily munching away on his hot dog, and she's like, I can't breathe.
To be fair, I friggin' love hot dogs. But I would probably drop my hot dog to help.
Yeah. And also the fact that he was playing that stupid game with her where they were munching hot dogs like lions is why she choked, because she took this massive bite.
Well, I remember at the time, before this happened, and they were playing a game with food.
Yeah.
Always be careful. This gets alluded to earlier because there's a bit where he's getting her to cram as much ice cream into her mouth as she can.
That's right? Yeah.
And I remember seeing that and thinking, that's no right. You know, never do that.
No.
And so I had a funny feeling something was going to happen, and I thought it might be something along that ilk because of the ice cream scene before.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
So we see Liam getting drunk in a bar.
Predictable.
I know, eh? Well, it's predictable for his character as well.
Is.
People hit the bottle in times of stress. In this situation, you know, that's basically what Liam seems to be doing at every turn. But you didn't really know why, unless it's to do with his mum, but that kind of maybe gets alluded to shortly. You know, if that's why he's behaving the way he's behaving, you know. This is where Jake comes in and basically says, aye, if you were alone with her, what would have happened, basically?
Yeah.
He tells Liam he's not fooled by him in any way like everybody else is in the town. And that Josie and Billy would be way better off without him around. Liam's not been the best, obviously. But, you know, to say that, does he need to hear that now? Probably no.
I know, like...
What's that going to achieve? Nothing. Going to him and being and ranting at him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, as much as Liam's acting like a child, I think Jake's also given maybe a bit of a low blow. Like, kick a man when he's down and all that. But at the same time, Liam is flaked at the earliest opportunity.
The next morning, Liam's dad wakes up and there's a note on the coffee machine that says, they're better off without me. Say goodbye for me. And... you know, this is kind of, he did something earlier where he bought him the espresso machine. He had a note on it saying press the button to make espresso, and the note's obviously changed now and says this. So Ken, it's kind of a connecting factor that his dad's got this nice coffee machine now from his son, and he sees a note, but the note's very different from the note that was there prior.
To be honest, see if that was me, I wouldn't have even noticed that he changed the note.
Just press the coffee.
I get a bit blind with these things.
First thing in the morning, man, as well. Coffee.
This is it, yeah.
I don't know where Liam is.
It's coffee quiet in here. Oh well, coffee.
later on, there's the whole thing. Where's Liam when? Oh, he's left again. He's not even left a note.
It's been 3 days. Oh well.
I kind of liked it though, that it linked the note thing, linked to that part earlier.
Yeah, I like that.
And after the coffee machine nonsense, we then see shots of Josie in tears and Billy being very sad, being held by somebody called Jake. Who's that?
Jake's Josie's brother.
Oh, right, cool. What?
Who's that?
Who is this Jake man?
Jake man.
Best cough sweeties ever.
Smell him a mile off.
Okay, you can't, eh? I took them to the theatre last time I had them. And I took one out of my pocket and went, oh, I better no, put it back in. Because I was like, I'm going to reek. Anyway, it cuts to Liam on stage in Berlin, singing a melancholy song. Oh, surprise, surprise. After the concert, Liam, Sam and the band are getting on their private plane to head to the next concert. And Sam / TOONS gives Liam an earful about leaving Josie and his daughter. Liam realises that he has to go back and he starts telling the steward, let him off this plane. And the steward's like, okay. And then Doris is like, no. And he's like, okay. This poor guy does not know what to do.
He's totally stuck in the middle. I feel so sorry for him.
That whole rock in a hard place thing, that's exactly what's happening here.
When we see Liam on stage at the Berlin concert, the crowd at this concert is what we would refer to as quite shan.
Aye, shan crowd.
Yeah, there's not many people. Like, it's supposed to look like a stadium. So it is, like, story-wise, it is a full sellout concert. Visually, there are about 10 people there. All just waving and being a bit rubbish.
There's 10 people into it, though.
I'm not even sure they are.
Oh, really? Oh.
Excellent acting.
Excellent acting for these Germans. I don't think this is in Berlin, by the way. But Liam gets off the plane and runs to get a plane ticket to Louisiana. Now, the thing is here, right, is that the guys are just, like, loving the drama. The guys in a band, eh?
They are.
It's like pass the popcorn. They're just sitting there thinking this is great.
Yeah, they're just sort of taking it all in. And I can imagine that Liam is quite a dramatic person to work with anyway.
Aye.
Like, he seems like he'd be a bit of a diva.
A pain in the arse.
100%.
An absolute, complete and total pain in the arse. And has his character changed any yet?
No, he has not learned.
We're getting towards the end, so I'm not entirely sure it's going to.
Yeah. I also wrote down, like, that Sam gives him this earful about, like, oh, you know, you've got a kid and, like, Josie and all that. What does he know about any of it? Nothing. Yeah. Like, you don't see them ever have, like, apart from the very fleeting, like, oh, I've got a daughter, by the way.
Yeah,
wow.
There's no building on the like him telling Sam. There's no phone calls with Sam or no Sam checking in, which would have maybe given both characters a wee bit of depth. Yeah. They didn't do that.
Nah, so
that's not what this film's for. I've got a feeling.
That's true. Yeah, but also don't feel you can give 2p on my life when you don't know anything about it. So back off.
True. But then maybe he does, and we've just not seen it. You know what I mean? As he's waiting at the airport, he listens to the saved phone message, and for the first time, we hear the whole message. And it's Josie asking him to call her back because it's really important. She says that she won't try again, but no matter what he decides to do, she will love him forever. Liam calls Josie and gets her voicemail. Funny that, that's how it feels.
Hi.
He leaves a message saying that it's taken him 8 years to return that message. He said he has listened to the message every day for 8 years. He tells her that he's coming back and that he'll never leave Saint again. St. Augustine, by the way. Unless it's with her and Billy. This is the thing, right? It's this whole thing about, Liam doesn't get in contact. And it's like, but he's listened to this friggin' voicemail every day. What a weirdo. You've listened to it every day for 8 years, but you never thought to just return it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I imagine the longer that time gets, the harder it gets to do.
Exactly.
But that's not the point. He's listened to it every day.
Every day. Liam arrives back in Saint and goes to Josie's house. He knocks on the door, but no one is home, and then he leaves. He leaves his phone on the front porch, though. So, clearly not that attached to that message. But anyway.
It's a bit idiotic, too. He leaves his phone on the front porch. How's she supposed to call him back if she wants to call him back now?
Well, this is it.
What if somebody saw the phone and pinched it? They wouldn't, because they'd be like, ugh, well, this thing's got scabies, let's throw it back.
Totally. Nobody's sending that to cash converters, that's for sure.
3 pence. 3 cents. Sorry. This
3
is Louisiana.
cents. Yeah. It's also raining at this point, which I was like, oh, really?
I might wash him a wee bit.
Maybe.
Sweaty, smelly Liam.
So in the morning, he is woken up by somebody throwing rocks at his window, and it's Josie outside, and she gestures him to come down. She has his phone in her hand and asks if he really listened to the message every day for 8 years. He says yes, he did. And she asks if he really won't leave again unless she and Billy are with him. He says that's right. And she says, then Liam Page, welcome home.
Welcome home.
Is that not how they would say it?
I don't know.
Welcome home.
Liam Page, welcome home.
There you go.
I don't know. That's not much better. It's pretty much what you did.
The blind leading the blind, we are.
Sorry if there's a crunkling noise going on. It's the dog has decided to bring the noisiest and most annoying toy he has for when we're doing this.
Yes. He's lucky he's cute, I'll tell you that for free. So, earlier in the movie, Liam has signed Billy up to do a talent show when she is learning to play the guitar.
Oh yeah, I meant to say that there's a strategically placed talent show poster on a pillar or something outside the school, and he's like, oh, I'll just sign her up.
Yeah, wow.
And then she's all like, you didn't. And it's like, I did. And it's like, oh, okay.
So we see this shot of 4 ballerinas doing their turn in the talent show. And then Billy comes out to do her turn at the talent show with her dad in tow. Wow.
Shenanigans, mate. Nobody else is allowed their dad. She's allowed her dad because he's a famous dad.
That's also what I said.
Right.
I don't think that's right. I think that's very unfair. I want to see the rules for this competition. They see the two of them singing this song together and it is very cute. It's very nice. And then the scene changes and they are on stage performing it together in front of thousands of people.
In Berlin again, by the way.
Yeah, back to Berlin for some reason.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So I think somebody that was writing this, Heidi, what's her name, was like that. She just found out Berlin's a place, so she's just using it again.
Yeah. He bought a return ticket. It's the cheapest one.
Hey, sorry, that was mean. That woman sold millions of books. How many have I sold? None. So
yeah, absolutely. More fool us, I think. Josie, Sam, Liam's dad, Jake, and the publicist are all watching on with pride.
The publicist, Doris, is like, she's kind of got a hang going on with the uncle, clearly. They're kind of like, it's like, oh, aye, because they're
uncle?
like...
Who's the uncle?
Jake.
God, how can we not remember who he is?
I don't know. Well, it doesn't matter now because we're at the end of the movie. But the fact is, they're having a sort of... Did they celebrate? They're having a sort of... there's a thing there, I think.
Yeah, there's
like...
maybe. Oh, God, I hope not. Doris, hold on. What's her name? Doris Grossnickel Hines.
I was going for Doris Jacobite the Third or something. Can't remember.
Equally ridiculous. Yes, and that's how the movie ends.
Something else too, right, I noted doing was that, right, he's sitting here singing a song with his daughter, and I think the song is about how he abandoned his daughter.
Yeah.
To a degree. It's about, I think that from what I could gather what the song was about, is that it was about that situation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I was like, oh, I just got to sit there with my daughter and sing a song about how I abandoned you. Sound.
Yeah, I always feel weird when it's a song like that. Like, you have to relive that trauma over and over and over again, and the people who it's about have to relive it.
Bands have to do it every day.
Yeah, like Fleetwood Mac, for example, when they had that song about one of them cheating on the other one. And
I think one of the most famous ones is No Doubt.
Yes.
Because she was singing about her boyfriend who was in the band.
Yeah, it's a bit awkward.
And that was Don't Speak, by the way, their biggest hit. So
yeah, always hearing that on the radio.
Exactly. On the radio, performing it every night next to your ex-girlfriend, singing about how much you're a dick. Well, I don't know if that's what the song was about. I can't quite remember.
But
it's a great song, though.
Yeah,
Don't Speak is a great song. This song, not so much.
No.
The song of the movie, not so much.
But it's also part and parcel of being in that situation, and if you don't like it, you don't have to do it. Nobody's forcing you.
Fair.
I did also have 2 questions at the very end. And who's going to run our flower shop?
Mm-hmm.
Successful business in its own right. Don't let that go to waste.
Nah.
And how are they managing to get the daughter out of school?
To go to Berlin?
To go to Berlin.
I've no idea. Do these questions get answered? No, they do not.
So, Mikey, what did you make of this one?
I think that this film is a triple Gorgonzola, Red Leicester, cheddar sandwich.
Stinking
Toasty. Stinking Bishop Stilton toasty. Cheesefest, Kat. Would you agree?
I do agree.
I think it's a movie by numbers is the way I'd put it. Is what I wrote down here last night. And it's very Hallmark. This belongs on the Hallmark channel, doesn't it?
I think that's perfectly fair.
I think Jessica Roth is really a very good actress, actually. She didn't really get a chance to shine as much as she could have. She doesn't really... Does she shine in Happy Death Day? She does when she's getting very frustrated about having to live the same day over and over again. For those who aren't familiar, Happy Death Day is a horror slasher, which is basically like Groundhog Day. In that film, she displays her frustration and everything else very well in a course of emotions, right?
Yeah.
In this one, she didn't get as much of a chance to flex, but she does. And what she does do, I think she does very well.
I would agree.
That being said, I mentioned that thing earlier about her place in this movie, and how she's sticking up for herself. This big famous guy with all this money and all this fame has come back into her life, and she's still like, no. But then all of a sudden she just drops and she goes, I want to go on a date with Liam Page.
Yeah.
It felt like that her character went for something that could be deeper or better into more two-dimensional, and every other character in the movie is two-dimensional. Yeah, even her brother, oh, I don't like you, everybody else does. It's all been done a million times in every Hallmark film out there. Do you see what I'm saying? And we've seen characters like these, is what I mean, in every Hallmark film at some point. I think Abby Ryder Fortson is class, and I hope she does loads of stuff now. She's 17 now.
Which is crazy.
Because when I was Googling what her name was last night, it came up that she's 17 and a picture of her now. And I was like, what? Is that her? It's wild. But yeah, I think she's going to do some great things, and I'm not sure this one's going to be a highlight of her career.
I don't think so.
No, and I think she had fun playing Billy. Clearly.
Yeah, absolutely.
She would have a lot of fun with this. What did you think? Did you agree with that or what?
I do agree with that. I agree with everything you said there. At one point last night when we paused the film, I said we both agreed that we could both predict what the next line of the film would be, and we were not far off.
No, we did. We were saying that I think we could actually have stopped this every couple of minutes and guessed what was going to happen next.
Yeah. It did pass the time. Like, it passed the time.
I think it would serve that purpose for many people.
Yeah.
Like a hungover Kirsten, for example.
Exactly that.
Kirsten, this is the exact right film to watch when you're hungover.
Yeah, you've done a good job there.
Yeah, so you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the kind of, back when I used to get hungover, I would have watched something like this. Or watched a movie that I'd seen 100 million times again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think for this movie, and if I was reading the book that this movie was based on, I feel like there's a lot of opportunities missed, and it would be interesting to see how faithful a translation this is.
Is that she saying you're going to go read the book?
100% not. And sorry to anybody who likes the book, and please tell me if it is drastically different to the movie.
I know, if you've read that book and you do like it and it is different or whatever, go and tell us. That would be cool, actually.
Yeah, it'd be really interesting. I just feel like there's an opportunity missed there to have these strong female characters stick to their reasoning.
She's got absolute valid reasoning for being pissed, and then she just drops her guard out of nowhere. Yeah. Because of a montage.
Yeah. And also, like, it's another female character who doesn't have anything other than being a mum sometimes. Like, it does feel very shallow. Where, like, you know, on her wedding day she's surrounded by friends, and she doesn't get to develop any strong female connections with anybody other than her daughter. So it just feels like there's a lot of story opportunities that are missed.
What we have in this movie you could have used to go and make something much deeper with much more substance, probably.
Yeah.
And a lot more going on and looking into people a little bit more, and even a line of dialogue here or there could have helped.
For sure.
A phone call with TOONS could have helped us give a bit more insight.
Yeah.
Because you said in that last scene where he's a bit miffed.
Yeah. He's got no reason.
Because we've not seen any conversations, but if we had have, then you would have been like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
And I think that this film potentially suffers from a bit of laziness.
Aye.
And I'm not trying to be mean about anybody who worked on the film or anybody who loves the film, but just it does play out like a bit of a jigsaw puzzle that we've all seen before.
Well, as I always do, I went online and I said before, I always look on Reddit and stuff, and I just kind of try and skim and see what's going on, and see if anybody's opened up any dialogues about it. You can check Wikipedia, you can check IMDb, etc. Right? But actually, I found myself on that I can't remember what it's called, but it's a website that parents can go on to write about what they thought of the film.
Okay,
that was a wee bit of an insight there.
Yeah, I'll bet.
Because there was one woman that was just like, oh. She was one of these like but sounded like one of these far right fundamentalist Christian women.
Oh, right.
Who's like, and she's just like, oh, the values aren't Christian because he sleeps around and he has a child out of wedlock. And I was just, oh, get away. You just put everybody in that under the Christianity banner in a shit position because of your crap. Do you know what I'm saying? And I find it hard not to get annoyed when it comes up. But anyway, that website was actually useful as well, by the way, because parents go on and write a few sentences about it.
That's a cool idea.
Which can be useful because they're trying to warn other parents, you know.
Yeah, but what's
and I got a lot of folk on that website like, whatever. But to that wifey anyway. But people are saying that they liked it because it's a sort of feel-good love story, was what certainly was some of the things I heard seen people say. And people saying that it felt relatable or whatever, or that it was a nice sort of easy film to watch, right?
Yeah.
Which that last one definitely falls into what we've heard about it, right? But I don't think that it is a feel-good love story at all. And I didn't think how can it be relatable to someone who's, I remember when I used to go out with a guy who would turn into a big millionaire country singer. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, I would disagree with that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, and that's why that was what I could find when people liked it, and there wasn't loads of stuff. But certainly I think there's people out there who thought at least that it filled an afternoon for them and that that's what they wanted.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or probably fans of the book as well.
Mm-hmm.
But then that can work the other way. Sometimes you're a fan of the book, but therefore you don't like the movie because it comes out and it's no faithful or whatever. But
yeah.
So I don't know. So in terms of why people didn't like it, people basically were saying that Liam has zero redeeming qualities, which I would probably agree with, I think.
Yeah, he shows zero personal growth.
One person even went on to say that he was toxic. Folk mentioned it was highly predictable. It was zero depth, which is kind of what I just said as well.
Yeah, I think we would agree with that.
Actually, this term here actually relates to what I said earlier, and it puts it in a better way. I actually found it on Wikipedia, and it was someone from the rap, and what they said was that it's all about the celebrity and his emotional journey, while the woman stands around like a prize waiting to be won. Because she kind of does do that, and it does reduce her to that when she has that coin flip.
I agree. Like, it would have been interesting to see a bit more focus on the life she had built for herself.
Aye.
Rather than kind of passing comment like, oh, I run a flower shop.
And also just to put up a little bit more resistance to the situation.
Yeah.
Because she does initially, and then that just goes. Do you know what I mean? Also, somebody said there's not enough bonding between Liam and Billy or Liam and Josie either.
Yeah.
And it's true, because all we get is a montage and then everybody's opinions change after that point.
Yeah. There's
including his dad as well, actually.
Mm-hmm. There's something in the water in this town. Everybody forgives really easily. It's trivia time.
It is trivia time.
Our first piece of trivia is that Bethany Ashton Wolfe, so the writer and director of this film, has said that she discovered singer-songwriter Jackson Odell literally in her own backyard. She said that Odell is one of her son's closest friends, and that Odell was singing and playing Smoking and Crying, which is one of the songs in the film, in her backyard one night 3 years before filming commenced, when she was still in development of the film. Wolf recalls that she went to the backyard and asked Odell if she could call his parents in the morning because she wanted to put the song into a movie she was working on. Adele was 17 years old at the time. That song features in the film, with Alex Rowe singing it on stage in a concert scene that takes place in London. Adele went on to co-write many of the songs in the film with music producer and songwriter Brett Boyett, including Don't Water Down My Whiskey, Enough, Wings of an Angel, and Finally Home.
Cool. That's a cool story.
Yeah, imagine being discovered just sitting in your own backyard.
It's a better story than the film.
Ironically, yes.
Did that guy, Alex Rowe, did he sing?
Yes, he did.
Did you know he was in Hollyoaks?
No, I did not.
He was, he's British.
You're joking?
No, he's British, he was in Hollyoaks.
That's hilarious.
Right, I meant to say this earlier and forgot. Also, Jessica Roth, she was in an episode of Gossip Girl. I've never seen that show, I don't know. But
wow, that's some good trivia.
apparently she was in an episode of it, and he was in Hollyoaks. Mental.
That's crazy, I'm going to have to look that up. I think Hollyoaks is finished now.
Is it?
I think so.
Oh, sad.
Sad, Too bad, so sad. The book author, Heidi McLaughlin, is an extra in a scene as a funeral attendee in the movie.
I was in that movie. Who did you put? I was at the funeral. Oh.
Yeah.
Could you not have been at the concert or something else?
I know, could you not put her
I
in
would
a
have been
happy
like,
seat?
can I be in the concert? I want to be somebody who's just absolutely just like
wailing.
Like, so happy at the front, like, yeah, I'm at a concert.
Oh, sorry, I think you meant the funeral again. I got confused.
Oh, no. I mean, I didn't think you'd be doing that at a funeral. It's not appropriate.
No, it is not. But yeah, they could have put her in something happy, like the flower shop, just be like an assistant in the background or something.
Drinking the beer for the fridge.
Yeah. Bethany Wolfe took her lead actor, Alex Rowe, to CMA Fest in Nashville 5 months before filming. He had never been to Nashville, too busy being in Hollyoaks.
Of course.
And she wanted him to have the opportunity to experience and immerse himself into the true country music scene up close and personal. She also arranged for the two of them to be backstage for the last night's lineup with her friends, for Rowe to experience what it would be like to be a real country star, and to experience time on their bus before the show, backstage, and then what it felt like to perform live in front of 60,000 fans.
Fair enough. There's quite a bit of research and a lot of effort went into this part.
Yeah.
So I put a lot of effort into setting this guy up to be a country singer.
Yeah.
Doesn't he show?
It's not really in it. Yeah, you're right. It's only...
All that hard work paid off, did it?
Did it though? Because really he only sings 2 songs as far as I recall.
Yeah.
So, bit of a waste of time. Seems like she got to go on a bit of a jolly.
Hey, I'd been like, oh, you want to fly me to Nashville for any fest? Is that like a country music festival, I'm assuming?
It must be, yeah.
Just like, I'll go to that.
Yeah, I'd go to that as well.
Could have taken him at the Grand Old Opry.
All right, Calamity Jane. Actress Abby Ryder Fortson, who played Billy in the film, would sometimes bring a geode to set. For fun, she and the screenwriter-director Bethany Wolfe would crack it open after the day's wrap in the backyard location of wherever they were shooting, and they would bury some of the crystals from the geode in the yard together.
That's so cool. That wee lassie is cool.
Yeah.
See, she sounds like she's cool in real life too. I'll tell you what, see, when you said geode, my first thing I was like, Geodude. I thought that's what you meant, like she carried a Geodude toy
from
Pokemon with her.
I think you were going to go down the Stardew Valley route.
Oh, yeah, you get geodes in that.
And get Clint to inspect your geodes.
Aye, so I'm not going about Stardew too much because it's just going to get out of hand.
Yeah, this will escalate quickly. Let's move on. In the book, written by Heidi McLaughlin, as we said, Liam is actually part of a band called 4225 West. In the movie, he's obviously a solo act, and the novel is set in Beaumont, Texas, yet the movie takes place in small town Louisiana, informally known as Saint. So quite different from the book.
I wonder what 4225 means.
The film, shot in Georgia in August in 110 to 115 degree heat, Fahrenheit, with a 24-day shooting schedule, sometimes shut down production at times for lightning storms. Because of the short shooting schedule, modest budget and ambitious set pieces, occasional lightning storms, and an intense heat with crew and cast moving at warp speed to shoot 154 scenes. By the way, it actually says warp speed here.
Moving at warp speed.
Bethany Wolfe storyboarded the entire film herself in moving visuals scene by scene, shot by shot, instead of traditional still storyboards. She explains that she does this for every film she has ever done, that it is part
she has done more than just this then. Okay.
That is part of her process to give a tactile, moving visual for all departments to see so that they all have a common language to work from as a template. She explains that she developed this as part of her creative process early on in her career as an indie filmmaker.
Fair, but a good old-fashioned storyboard, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I thought you'd find it interesting just that it's a slightly different process of working.
It is, but it feels very labour-intensive to make a sort of moving image.
Especially for this sort of movie.
Right. I feel that that's the kind of thing you would put a lot of work into for a project if you were Wes Anderson.
Yes.
Right? No making this film, right?
Yeah.
But at least she's put a lot of work into the film she's making, but the result probably doesn't. I feel like she's maybe, she could, I feel like she's got the energy and everything to do this really well. I did kind of this was a movie for her.
Yeah.
She recorded, so she did make another movie. I just Googled it now and I remembered Googling it last night and I've just forgotten, but Dawn's Plum was a black and white independent film, but it had Leo DiCaprio and Tobey Maguire in it.
Wow, okay.
So she made that, I think it was in the 90s. Aye, 95 to 96, and it came out in 2001, so I don't know what the delay was.
Wow.
But aye, it made just over $6,000 at the box office. So
$6,000?
$6,000.
Okay.
So it was a very independent, smaller movie.
Right.
I don't even know if Tobey Maguire and Leo DiCaprio probably was a big deal then, but
yeah.
But anyway, I feel like this woman's probably going to go and do great things, but it might be because it sounds like she's so into the business and she's doing these amazing things with these storyboards and all that. That's a lot of work and a lot of effort to go to for a throwaway film like this, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think the phrase that we often use in work is the juice worth the squeeze? So you can put in all the effort you want, but if your returns are only going to be so good, is it worth putting in all those processes in place?
That's efficiency.
Yeah, unfortunately so.
It's true, but it's true. And you're right, I don't know if it feels like she's had this great idea and she's put so much passion into this thing. But it's maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm putting her opinions on it. I don't know if she's super proud of this movie. Maybe she is.
She may well be. And you know what? I've never made a film. And it's watchable, for sure.
Yeah.
It's just not the best film you'll ever see.
I made a film about a killer sausage roll once.
I have seen that sausage roll.
Aye, but not the movie because unfortunately it was got destroyed. It was part of my graded unit at college, or if we're taking last week into account, community college. And it was I got an A though, and because the lecturer had seen it, but unfortunately when we did the big screening at the end of the year where everybody's films get screened, mine wasn't screened.
Oh, that's
it was lost.
sad.
I know. So I've always thought about remaking it for bands and I have people on board to do that. So
yeah.
I just need to actually do it.
Well, now you know you can visually storyboard it out.
That's true. Probably wouldn't just use Matchstick Men just like I did back then.
Yep. Is the juice worth the squeeze?
But the person who I need to make it is very busy just now. So
I know, I'll try and free up some time.
To be fair, I probably would draft you in for some help, I'll tell you.
And I'm afraid that's the end of the trivia.
Ah, well, this woman, this director woman, does sound like she sounds like an interesting person, I'll tell you.
Yeah, especially with a name like Bethany Wolf.
Okay, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
There is no Wilhelm scream, guys.
No, none in this film.
No. Favourite line, Kat?
I can't see past TOONS.
Oh, I know, because we did that all night last night and then all day today.
Yeah, it was a choice.
What's
for that guy.
TOONS?
And I like it.
Liam, the head of the label's going to be there. And everyone's really eager to hear about these new tunes you've been working on, you know? Just have a bottle of vodka sent up to my room and a steak. A steak!
I don't think I'll ever say the word tune the same again.
Nah, like when I'm going to buy lozenges next time and I'll look at the Jakemans first and then I see the tunes. That's what I'll think of.
I think you'll struggle. I've not seen tunes in years.
I saw tunes out at Home Bargains.
What?
Because they do all sorts, man.
They do.
Honestly, I think they've got them dust them off in the stockroom for 1993 and they'll just sell these.
Probably. Still good.
My personal favourite was Toons having a rant at Liam about his prehistoric phone.
Yep.
Do you know that right now the whole world is wondering where Liam Page is? Have you turned on a TV? Does that prehistoric cell phone of yours even have Wi-Fi?
The amount of rage in the end.
Totally.
So
and
good.
special mention to Billy going on about the music not being her cup of tea as well. I like that one.
That was very good. It was. There were some good lines in it.
So, Kat, on to the reviews.
Yes, please.
Our first review is what I'd refer to as a micro review, a tweet, if you will. And it's just bad. Can't recommend. Never seen it. All right, wait. What do you mean? You've never seen it?
Why is there no more information?
I know, never seen it, but I'm not going to recommend it. It's really bad, but I've never seen it. I can't really say.
Maybe they just read the book and they were so annoyed by the book they were like, I'm going to write a review about the film.
You can, because that'll reach more people. Then you listen to Heidi, she sucks. The next one, all right. First of all, I feel like there's a rant coming on. First of all, Billy is absolutely hilarious, smart, talented, and amazing. It is worth watching this movie just for her. I don't know if they're referring to the actress, Abby Ryder Fortson, or just Billy's character. I think in.
Either, I kind of would agree.
Aye, totally. She would have needed sunglasses in the convertible, though. Oh well.
All right.
I feel like she maybe just, I think this person maybe thinks that Billy would have looked cute in sunglasses, maybe. I think that's maybe what they're getting at.
Well, I think you also need sunglasses in a convertible in case something gets blown in your eye.
Oh, so what they're saying is when she's in the convertible, she doesn't wear them, and she
Yeah.
should have been wearing them. Okay.
Yeah, keep your eyes safe.
Also, I hated that Liam was dropping beer cans off the roof at the beginning, and Liam's publicist was just annoying. I appreciated the soundtrack, and the chemistry between the leads was really noticeable. Lastly, keeping the old flip-style cell phone as his primary method of communication makes no sense, and he certainly would not have been able to use it to request an Uber. Well done, Kat, you said that. Anyways, I would recommend it in general if you're looking for a romantic story. It's a weighted review, I guess.
Yeah.
Or somebody who can't really decide.
Yeah, I think we all left that movie with quite a high level of confusion, so...
What?
Eh?
Why are they in Berlin again? What?
But yeah, I'm also glad that somebody else did not appreciate the dropping beer cans off a roof.
Nah, no, because immediately I was like, your pal's just died in a car accident. This person's going at it. The main character has no remorse for his dead high school BFF, but instead spends his time being obsessive with an ex he left at the altar, and afterwards feels entitled to see his unknown daughter, in spite of never showing any true empathy or interest in others. The most unforgiving and weird character flaw, however, is the choice to make him completely technologically challenged to the point of not knowing how to order items online. A solid way for the lead character to earn the gold medal in the man-child category. To be fair, that's kind of like what I just said earlier.
Yeah?
Every girl pines for a 27-year-old alcoholic country sweat boy that needs sweat, and it's BOI as well, which just
Sweat
is
boy.
great. You and I did that ironically, and it's kind of become more of a thing now.
Yeah.
But that is hilarious, man. Every girl pines for a 27-year-old alcoholic country sweat boy that needs tech support like an 80-year-old. No, find something else. Do not waste your time on this garbage.
Wow. Okay. Strong feelings.
Absolutely, aye. Oh, now cool. So again, weighted argument in that this person did like it.
Okay.
I totally loved this movie. I think the critics don't like it because it's predictable and sweet, and we live in a time when Hollywood doesn't want to celebrate those things. This movie was a lovely redemption story. I think we all want to believe there is hope, even when things seem hopeless. This is why the audience score was so high. Who cares what the critics think? It's like wine. All that matters is what the person drinking it thinks. There is too much pretense and snobbery in the world today. Let's celebrate the simple things. Fair.
I agree, fair. Kirsten, was that you?
I know, Kirsten, did you write this? You knew we were going to do this and you wrote this review, didn't you? To be fair, right, this person's basically, right, in that last wee section, just rattles off the whole reason we started this podcast.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
do you know what I mean? But I wouldn't, whether I'd apply it to this film or no, I'm not sure.
Yeah. I think what they're saying, the sentiment of what they're saying is right, but I wish the story had been a bit stronger.
Yeah, and a few other things. So, Kat, Forever My Girl, fresh or rotten in your opinion?
For me, this film is rotten. Sorry, Kirsten. I think the story is far too predictable. It's nothing that's not been done 100 times over, and it's not even got a good enough soundtrack to pull you in.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping maybe that the songs would pull me in. And so at least I'd be like, oh, well, at least there was catchy tunes and I'd be going on about them or singing them.
Yeah.
I can't hum one tune for this movie.
Nope, nor can I. So I think for those reasons and many others, unfortunately for me, it's rotten. What about you, Mikey?
Yep, I'm the same. I just rattled off my thoughts about it before, and we both spoke about our thoughts. But, as we know in this podcast, that doesn't always reflect my decision whether it's fresh or rotten. But I think it is rotten. It's a real stinker. But it does fall into a category of movies of that kind. Hallmark movies. Hallmark movies are popular. Like you told me, you watched a few stinkers in your time. Christmas Hallmark movies were a favourite of yours back then.
They are. They still are.
Still are now.
Yeah. And it's a weird one when it's a Hallmark movie because you do know what you're getting. And I think there's something about them for me that I can really tolerate at Christmas, but that I find a bit more difficult to accept in other times of year.
Aye, maybe. I think that's the case for a lot of Christmas films, and we'll probably get to talking about that in December.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know if this movie had a wide theatrical release. I didn't see it come out, I don't think, when it came out.
Either.
But regardless, I actually really want to use this opportunity to say, we don't want to just talk about big budget movies and big blockbusters, and so far that's largely what we've done. I do want to deviate, and I want to talk about lesser known films that are absolutely scraping the barrel. I was getting films together for season 2 today.
Excited.
Believe it or not, because we've kind of talked about the movies we're going to do. So I was kind of trying to find where I can watch them all. And one of them I struggled to find.
Oh, wow.
But that's a good thing because it's way out there. And so I can't wait to watch a film like that and talk about a film like that. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, I really want a broad range. I didn't want to do just big blockbusters. And so far, I think throughout the season, it's been films that were at least popular in the time they came out.
Yeah.
And if this is a lesser known film, great, because that's what I want to do.
Definitely.
Would you watch it again, though?
No.
Nah, me either. Not much else to say about that, I think.
Yep. No explanation required.
Before we go into what next week's film is, I'll just quickly mention that we had another review on Apple Podcasts.
Yay!
It's a wee shorty, but it's nice to have them, and I'm appreciating that folk out there are doing them, so thank you. And it was for Dobie 1961, and it was a really good podcast which gave a good insight to the movie. Thanks for the content. I appreciate you taking the time to say that.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you. So if you do want to write a review, you can do that on Apple Podcasts. Scroll down at the bottom, tap write review, you can rate there, or you can just rate on Apple Podcasts as well. You can rate on Spotify too, which is on the main podcast page, 3 little dots, and you can rate from there. If you tap that, it gives you options. Bosh. There you go. And on that note, we do now have 8 ratings on Spotify.
Wow.
And we're 5 as well. So if you're going to give us a rating, please make it a 5-star one.
Yeah, your ratings really do help. This is a very small podcast and in a sea of podcasts. So
the podcast bin, as Adam Buxton refers to it. And there's so many out there that we need, any wee ratings we can. If we want to grow our wee movie club, that's the only way we can go about it, is by getting more ratings and reviews. So if you're out there and you've not done it and you want to, that would be great, and we'd really appreciate it. Thank you. And thanks to those who have done it already.
Thank you very much.
Earlier on, there was a reference as well, or a shameless plug, you might say, to your mum's small business.
Yes.
Mama J, she makes artwork.
Some beautiful artwork.
Yeah, some really nice artwork, and she sells it at stalls and things, and she's exploring selling stuff online too at the moment. But if you want to, and you want to see her lovely artwork, and it is great, you can follow on Instagram at walk_art. That's at walk_art. And it's lots of floral stuff and landscapes. We've got a few of our pieces of art in this house, and I love them.
Yeah.
They're pride and place. So
They really are.
yeah, so go and have a wee look if you want to.
Yeah, if you're interested in local art, give it a wee follow.
Totally. Now, on to next week's movie, Cat.
The big reveal.
Dun, 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 dun. So next week is much more my speed, and it's
Yeah.
sort of a request, sort of. We're doing the Turtles movie, original Turtles movie.
Oh, wow.
Live action Turtles movie. The original live action comic book movie, you might say. There's probably one before that, I don't know.
Yeah.
But Turtles next week is going to be fun, I think.
It'll be a ride.
I've certainly seen it quite a bit as a kid, more so the second one.
Okay.
But I did enjoy the first one as a kid, so.
Excellent. So that'll be good to explore.
It's been a while since we watched it. I didn't remember last we watched it together. Anyway, it was actually a sort of request because Rob, a friend of ours, requested the Turtles 3 because it was very rotten.
Oh, right.
Which is when they go to sort of Edo era Japan sort of thing, and it's
Oh,
samurai
wow.
turtles,
Okay.
and it's
Okay.
way out there. But I didn't want to just charge straight for that when there's two rotten films before it.
Mhm.
So that's what I've decided today, is to go in for Turtles, the first one and the second one first, and then we'll get there through whenever, how long that takes. But so, Rob, we're doing your request, but we're going about it the long way.
Yeah, the long way around.
But what I'll say is that I'm excited to do Turtles, and it's got to be class.
It's going to be good fun. If you want to get in touch with us to recommend some more movies, then you can reach out to us by email, and the email address is
rankrottenpod@gmail.com. That's rankrottenpod@gmail.com.
excellent. Thank you very much. And you can reach out to us on Instagram as well, and that's at rankrottenpod.
And Threads, which is also at rankrottenpod.
Yeah.
There's not much going on in the Threads thing. I thought the Instagram posted to Threads for you, and it doesn't.
No.
So
we need to get the threads a bit more active.
Aye, totally. I would start firing stuff over. Also, on the Instagram, we are posting reels, which are a clip of the episode that's at the end of that week. So we post a clip of the episode that comes out on Friday on the Monday.
Yeah.
So you can get a wee tiny snippet.
It's like a little trailer before a movie.
Totally. You get a wee bit of flavour for it.
Yeah. A little
So
taster.
That's it. So if you want to hear a wee clip before the episode comes out, you can get that on Instagram, but you can also get it on YouTube, and we're also at Rank Rotten Pod on YouTube, and I put them out there as shorts as well. And the episodes go on YouTube, so you can listen to the actual full episodes on YouTube if that's your preference.
Yeah, whatever your choice is. We really do appreciate you listening, and any feedback or recommendations would be more than appreciated, so please feel free to get in touch if you want to.
So thanks for joining us for Forever My Girl. It was an opportunity to do something a wee bit different for us, and I want to keep that going. So as we said, do put in a request if you have one, and if it's something different out there or whatever, we'll try and boost them up the list. We'll try to do a couple of requests a season. So thanks again, Kirsten, and that's it for our time in St. Augustine and Berlin, apparently.
Yeah, and London. Goodness, that went all over the place.
And we've been all over the place, and I'm knackered and I'm going to bed.
Yeah. Night night all.
Bye.
Bye.